한국어 화면 및 자막 언어 된 건가? 이전에 스탠리 패러블을 플레이해본 적이 있나요? 네. 컴퓨터가 거의 보이지 않을 때까지 슬라이더 조정하는데 방송하는 거니까 이 정도 돼도 되겠지? 현재 시각을 입력하세요. 지금 8시. 소로님 감사합니다. 이 결제 38불. 알겠습니다. 뭘까? 뭘 하려고? 자, 한번 가보도록 하겠습니다. 제가 이번에 할 게임 스탠리 패러블 울트라 디럭스 한번 게임 시작 바로 한번 해보도록 하겠습니다. 화면이 똑같네요, 옛날이랑. 제가 정말 좋아하는 게임 중에 하나였는데 스킵하려면
This is the story of a man named Stanley. Stanley worked for a company in a big building where he was employee number 427. Employee number 427's job was simple. He sat at his desk in room 427 and he pushed buttons on a keyboard. Orders came to him through a monitor on his desk, telling him what buttons to push, how long to push them, and in what order. This is what employee 427 did every day of every month of every year. And although others might have considered it soul-winning, Stanley relished every moment that the orders came in.
뭐지?
Though he had been made exactly for this job. And Stanley was happy.
스탠리는 행복했답니다.
And then one day, something very peculiar happened. Something that would forever change Stanley. Something he would never quite forget. He had been at his desk for nearly an hour when he realized that not one single order had arrived on the monitor for him to follow. No one had showed up to give him instructions, call a meeting, or even say hi. Never in all his years at the company had this happened, this complete isolation. Something was very clearly wrong. Shocked, frozen solid, Stanley found himself unable to move for the longest time. But as he came to his wits and regained his senses, he got up from his desk and stepped out of his office.
똑같나 보네, 이거까지는? 뭔가 새로운 루트가 생긴 걸까요?
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean?
사라졌어요.
Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
전화.
No matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers.
월요일 어쩌고 저쩌고 1등 아빠 난 일이 좋아 내 상사가 싫음. 뭐가 바뀌었을까? 여기는 원래 이랬었나? 뭐가 바뀌었을까요? 이번에 가봅시다. 일단 월요일 싫어. 일단 얘가 원하는 대로 한번 진행을 해보자.
When Stanley came to a set of two open doors, he entered the door on his left.
일단 원하는 대로 해봐. 야, 이것도 별거 없네. 뭐가 변했을까나? 공포 게임 아니에요.
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there.
속으로 욕하고 다니기, 다른 동료에게 소극적으로 공격성 드러내기, 더는 자신을 돕지 않는 동료를 원망하기. 슬라이드로 모든 게 순조롭다는 걸 직원에게 확신시켜라. 파란 그래픽을 입히고 텍스트에 일치 효과를 넣는다. 와, 이거 다 했구나. 완전히 다 그 번역을 해놨네요? 잘했다. 전에 이것까지는 번역이 안 되어 있었던 것 같은데. 슬라이드의 개수, 슬라이드 차트 슬라이드. 뭐 별거 없네? 그냥 간다. 우와, 청소 도구함이다.
Stanley stepped into the broom closet, but there was nothing here. So he turned around and got back on track.
저 여기가 좋아요. 싫어, 안 가.
There was nothing here. No choice to make, no path to follow. Just
말
an
잘
empty
들어야
room
되는데.
closet.
아,
No reason to still be here.
알았어요. 조금 이따 가지 뭐. 오,
Coming to
내려가자.
a staircase,
Yeah.
Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
좀 무서운데? 올라가 볼까? 근데 이러면 저번이랑 똑같은 루트 되는 거 아닐까요? 사장의 화장실이래. 만약 사장이 손해를 봤다면 그건 사장이 선택한 일이고 자신이 한 말은 스스로 알고 있기 때문이지. 와, 여기 뭐임? 뭔가 있는데?
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life.
아무것도 없어.
Shocked, unraveled, Stanley wondered in disbelief who orchestrated this. What dark secret was being held from him? What he could not have
도전까지 왜
known
계속
was
생기냐?
that the keypad behind the boss's desk guarded the terrible truth that his boss had been keeping from him. And so the boss had assigned it an extra secret PIN number. 2845.
11.
But of course, Stanley couldn't possibly have known this.
1234 0000.
Stanley just sat around twiddling his thumbs. Trying to input anything on the device was useless,
천사.
since he could never possibly know that the combination was 2845.
전사 2080. 저 30.
2845.
아, 왜
Yet
강요하냐?
incredibly, by simply pushing
진짜?
random buttons on the
오.
keypad, Stanley happened to input the correct code by sheer luck. Amazing.
우와.
He stepped into the newly opened
이야.
passageway.
여긴 전에도 있었던 거였죠? 내려가요. 근데 원래 전에도 이런 게 있었어. 우와 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 우.
Descending deeper into the building,
이야.
Stanley realized he felt a
우리
bit
회사
peculiar.
넓다.
It was
올라가자.
a stirring of emotion in his chest, as though he felt more free to think for himself, to question the nature of his job. Why did he feel this now, when for years it had never
다른 길은
occurred to him?
없나?
This question would not go unanswered for long.
야야. 오. 올라갈 수도 있나?
Whoops. Nope.
뭐야?
Never mind.
올라가
Stanley actually
버렸어요.
got back into the elevator and went back up. Silly me. Why did Stanley do that when he knew
나
that it would just
올라갔어.
lead back to his boss's office? Well, that's a great question. I just can't wait to
우와.
find out.
올라갔다. 올라가는 건 처음 보네, 그니까. 더 이상 할 게 있나, 여기서? 돌아가 보자, 그럼.
Here we are, Stanley. It's your boss's office.
네.
Exactly the way it was before you got onto the elevator. It's still just exactly what it is. What a decision you've made to come up here and look at the office again. This has fleshed out the plot of the story in new and fascinating ways I could have never anticipated. It's that keen eye for storytelling that you have. An incisive rapid fire of critical plot points,
궁금해서.
one after the other, weaving a rich tapestry of uncompromising
겁나지네.
narrative. Wow. I'm bolted to the
멋진다.
edge of my seat.
45였나? 비밀번호 의미가 없나봐 이제 지금은. 나갈 수 있는지 보자. 나갈 수 있나? 할 수 있는 게 없는 걸까요? 이제 이제 못 나가나봐. 할 수 있는 게 없는 것 같은데? 2845가 아니라 사실 다른 비밀번호가 있지 않을까? 깜짝아. 아닌가 봐. 다시 돌아가자. 비밀번호 역으로 2845 5482. 아니야. 아 그래 나 말 잘 듣기로 했어. 이번 생은 착한 사람이 돼야 돼. 다시 내려가자.
Incredible. Now he's getting back into the elevator and going down again. Ladies and gentlemen, how does he keep coming up with all of this?
왜 놀려?
Surely this time Stanley will walk forward into the spooky corridor, won't he?
다시 가면 안 돼? 한 번 다시 올라가.
Did you think we were going to go forward down the spooky corridor? No. It's time once again to go back up in the elevator. I can't even begin to grapple with what might be up there. Is it the boss's office again? Or what if it's the boss's office this time? The suspense is killing me.
저 중간에 뭐 있는데 저가 못 가나? 아. 우와! 왔다! 히히히. 사장실! 어?
Oh my god. It's the boss's office.
헉!
This absolutely changes everything for me.
쩐다.
Give me a time out here for a minute while I process this.
잠시 기다려주세요. 아니 한숨 쉴 것까지야 있냐고.
Okay, I'm ready.
오케이.
I'm prepared to embrace this
Yeah.
stunning revelation and to move forward with... No! No, wait!
왜요?
No! I need more time to process.
안돼! 아니 왜? 그냥 나가게 해줘. 내 뒷땅 까고 있나봐.
All
좋아
right.
됐어?
I have fully come to terms with it. I have made space in my worldview for this astonishing
공간을
new reality.
만들었대.
As before, I turn to your expert eye for
Yeah.
gripping narrative, Master Stanley.
여기가 아닌가? 다시 돌아가야 될까? 아니잖아. 다시 돌아가면 돼? 그럼 다시 탄다?
Of course.
엘리베이터 좋아.
I mean, sure, now
Yeah,
it's obvious,
yeah,
but you
yeah.
have to understand that 30 seconds ago, this kind of thing had never been attempted
와,
before.
쩐다.
I had no frame of reference
어디
to
가지,
even
이제?
anticipate it. That's just how revelatory Stanley's
좀
decision-making
느리다.
is. A breath of fresh air in a landscape of storytelling that has grown stale and repetitive.
우리 어디 가요? 오, 또 왔어요. 이제 말이 없네요? 아, 이제 안 받아줘! 내려가야 되나봐.
You know what? I
아닌가?
just thought of something. Hold on, let's stop for a minute.
왜?
Don't you
미안해.
realize? It's the anticipation, Stanley. You and I, we have no way of knowing what will be at the top of this elevator. But the suspense, the agony of waiting and anticipating and having to guess, that's the real thrill. Oh, I simply don't want to let that feeling go. It's so precious, so fleeting. Why don't we take this elevator ride nice
좋아.
and slow? There we go. Isn't this so much more exciting? You know, Stanley, it seems like nowadays the only thing that audiences want is to be shocked as loudly and frequently as possible. They want big, explosive moments flung right in their faces from
아니,
the very
아저씨 너무
moment that things
느려요.
get started. But where's the tension? Where's the trust in the audience to build a
아니,
slow and
언제
nuanced
올라가?
appreciation for the story, the characters? Why aren't we given time to imagine the surprises? To have to think and to anticipate and then to marvel at the
올라가요?
eventual reveal. This is storytelling, Stanley.
Yeah.
What you and I are doing right now. This is the
여기
most
가자.
exciting narrative to to be developed in years. And it's really all because of
되게
you.
무서운데?
You're the one who took this bold step of revisiting the exact same locations over and
저거를 못
over.
멈추네?
Truly, I mean it. This is unique and different. It's not like anything else out there. You
갈 수
see,
있는 방법이
I want
없나?
stories that surprise me, Stanley. I want to have to think.
못 가나
I want
봐.
to be engaged and not pandered to. We're being fed such unimaginative drivel all the
와,
time,
여긴
and we
뭐야?
all know it. Which is why we're so starved for content that makes us feel sharp and vital and alive. That's why people like you so much, Stanley. Because you're not afraid to spit in the
저기도 못
face of
가네? 왜
tradition.
만든 거지,
You're a
저긴?
role model, you know.
Yeah, role
People look
model.
up to you. Which is why, oh, I didn't know when to spring this on you, but
아저씨,
well,
시원하군요.
I've
저
gathered a
여기서
little
내려요,
press conference for you,
아저씨.
so that you can talk about your work and your storytelling and your life. Yes, I know you're not much for the public eye, but I thought it would especially mean a lot to the people who've been following you from the beginning. They really look up to you,
저를
Stanley.
존경해요?
I don't know if you realize the impact you have on them. This is the kind of gesture that
저희
might leave a
아저씨 설교
tremendous
그만.
impact on them for
죄송해요.
the better.
우와!
Oh, good, we're here.
뭐야, 나 진짜 기자회견해?
의미를 부여하기
Okay,
시작하면
the room where we're holding
나레이터처럼
the press
됩니다.
conference
주의하세요.
should be just around the corner here
모두 그를
somewhere.
향해 집중. 무대에서 라이브. 세상에서 가장 건강한 인간. 모든 비밀이 밝혀지다. 이렇게 만들었습니다. 피라미드. 화성에 간 남자. 뭐야, 기자회견해? 에헴. 저기 다시 못 가나? 왜? 내 엘리베이터! 아니, 아저씨! 왜? 한 번만. 세상 평온하게 무대로 가는
Ah,
건.
yes, here it is, just through this door.
저 여기 가면 안 돼요? 스탠리 오늘 밤 무대에서 생중계? 스토리텔러. 여기 가면 되는 거야? 무대로.
All right, are you ready? I've told them you're going to
느낌이
speak a little
다른데요?
bit about the nature of surprise in storytelling and what it means to craft a truly unpredictable narrative. Oh, don't worry, you'll do great. Just be yourself and speak from the heart. I'm really proud of you,
갑자기
Stanley.
이렇게 된다고?
Okay, it looks
427?
like they're ready for you. Go get them.
이게 뭘까? 427이 뭘까? 축하해 스탠리. 잘 됐다고 모른 척하기 없기다. 직장 동료들. 이야기 스탠리다. 데이빗 6살. 스탠리. 당신의 아내가 아파트 엔딩에 나오는. 실화인가? 아파트 엔딩에 맞아. 얘 와이프 나오잖아 한번. 가자! 우와! 안녕하세요. 예, 맞습니다. 예, 안녕하세요. 안녕하십니까? 뭐야? 아니, 이러고 끝나요? 여기 뭔가 꺼졌는데? 아닌가?
이번 엔딩의 교훈 엘리베이터를 타라. 그러면 당신을 주목할 것이다.
멋있다.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean?
다른 거 뭐
Stanley decided to
해볼까?
go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
메모. 입력 수신됨. 뭔가 모르지만 입력 수신했어. 오케이. 다음은 어디로 갈까요? 왠지 말 듣기 싫어졌어요.
When Stanley came to a set
오른쪽.
of two open doors, this was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to
오른쪽.
stop by the employee lounge first, just to
우와.
admire it.
여기는 뭐예요? 사장님! 저 음료수 주세요.
Yes, truly a room worth admiring. It had really
휴게소다,
been worth
휴게소.
the detour after all, just to spend a few moments here in this immaculate,
아빠.
beautifully constructed room.
월요일
Stanley
시간.
simply stood here, drinking it all
내
in.
사랑이 되어줘.
But
여긴
eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
왼쪽에 열려있는 첫 번째 문? 저기 중간에도 내려가는 곳 있는데. 아, 어디로 가지? 다 재밌어 보여. 여기도 재밌어 보이는데? 여긴 뭐야?
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't 5 years ago.
화물 생강에서 뛰어내릴 씨. 저기를 못 가나? 저기를 못 가나?
Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here.
못 가려나?
I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all
안
this
죽는다고?
time. But in his eagerness to prove that he is in control of the story and no one gets to tell him what to do, Stanley leapt from the platform and plunged to his
뭘 안
death.
죽는데?
Good job, Stanley. Everyone thinks you are very powerful.
죽네 이거. 어허, 모임.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
어디로 가야 좀 새로운 노트가 나올까나? 새로운 노트를 보고 싶어요.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left. This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it.
지금 저번에 안 했던 거를 해야 되는데.
Yes, this room.
야,
But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his
다시
left.
가볼까? 저기가 궁금하긴 한데 하려던 거 해보자.
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't 5 years ago.
카드? 카드 있나? 카드 있을까? 그런 거 없겠지? 여기는 안 만들어놨겠지? 없나벼?
Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've
갈수
gotten
있으면
off on the
좋을 텐데.
wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing in your
아니야, 이거
trust in
다리로
someone
가는
else
노트
can
원래
be
전에도
difficult.
있었잖아,
But the
근데.
fact is
여기
that
안에도
the
새로운
story
걸
has been
만들었을까?
about nothing but you all this time. There's someone you've been neglecting, Stanley. Someone you
Sure.
forgot. What? Really? I was in the
Really?
middle of something. Do you have zero consideration for others? Are you that convinced that I want something bad to happen to you? Why? I
여기
don't know how
전에도
to
갔던
convince you of
노트인데.
this, but I really do want to help you, to show you
모든
something
것이
beautiful.
위험합니다.
Look, let me prove it. Let me prove that I'm on your side. Give me a chance.
네. 전에도 있었던 그거였을까 아마. 양동이 반입 금지? 양동이?
Now listen carefully. This
양동이
is
반입
important.
금지라.
Stanley walked through the red door.
가면 어떻게 돼?
Oh, thank God you are willing to listen to me. Do you see that I really have wanted you to be happy all
양동이가
this
있었나?
time? The problem is all these choices. The two of us always trying to get somewhere that isn't here. Running
돌고
and running and
돈다.
running, just the way you're doing right now. Don't you see that it's killing us, Stanley? I wanted to stop. We would both be so much happier if we just stopped. And I think I have a solution.
돈다
Here,
돈다요.
let me show you.
와, 여기도 있고 여기도 문이 있어. 들어가. 오, 이게
Do
뭐야?
we want? What are we looking for?
아닌데 여기 원래 있었던 거 아닌가?
Here.
그래 원래 있었던데요.
Oh, it's beautiful, isn't it? If we just stay right here, right in this moment with this place, Stanley, I think... No, wait. Where are
여기도
you going?
갔던 데인 것 같고. 여기 그 자살 엔딩
no.
아닙니까?
Stay away from those stairs. If you hurt yourself, if you die, the game will
이건
reset.
자살
We'll lose
엔딩이네.
all of this. Please, no, Stanley, let me stay here. Don't take this from me. Please, Stanley, think about what you're doing.
왜? 하지만 다른 엔딩.
No!
아파.
Thank God you lived. No. No, what are you doing, Stanley? Please, I'm asking you not to take this away from me. I can't go back to what I was before. If you
죽어버릴
die, we'll
거니까,
both go
젠장.
back. Why are you doing this?
죽어버릴 거니까.
Stanley, let's go back to the other room.
죽어버릴 거야. 나 따위 없어지면
Is this really
그만이니까.
how much you dislike my game? That you'll throw yourself from this platform over and over to be rid of it?
새로운
You're
엔딩을
literally
내놔
willing to kill yourself
내놔.
to keep me from being happy. Am I reading the situation correctly?
다시 돌아가면 어떻게 되지? 궁금한데? 다 와서 궁금한데? 다시 돌아가면 어떻게 되지? 돌아가야지 다시 돌아가. 아저씨 아파요. 저 다시 돌아가고 있어요.
Yes, perhaps you can. Perhaps you finally see what I'm talking about.
어? 아니 여기에 있으라고?
I know you'll see. You'll see that we can't be happy if we leave this place. You can see that, can't you?
내가 할 수 있는 게 없는 걸 여기서? 다시 돌아가야 되나?
No, perhaps not.
다시 가! 뭐야 말해줘 나레이터. 왜 말 안 해주는 거야? 이건 뭐야? 웬 그림이 있어? 관심 안 줘. 죽어버릴래. 나한테 관심을 안 줬어. 죽어버릴래. 슝슝슝 슝슝슝. 나한테 관심을 안 줘? 확 죽어버릴 거야. 양! 안
Maybe
죽는데?
you're just getting a kick out of it. I don't know anymore. I just wanted us to get along. But I guess that was too much to ask.
아니
It looks like you
킹치만
wanted to make a choice after all. Well, this one is yours.
안... 내가 너무 튼튼한걸? 킹치만 미안해.
Is it over? It's going to restart, isn't it? I'm going.
왜 이렇게 텐션 낮게 말해? 열받네. 야.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. No matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers.
내가 뭔가 할 수 있는 게 또 있을 것 같은데 입력 수시는 뭔지 모르겠고. 새로운 콘텐츠다.
Oh,
우와.
new content? What does that mean?
우와.
New content.
재밌겠다. 뭐예요? 와 출발! 이게 그거구나. 엥? 어디야? 무서워.
Hello, and thank you for playing the Stanley Parable
네.
Ultra Deluxe. As you
우와.
may know, the Stanley Parable was a video game released in
나레이터
2013
어디 갔냐?
on home computers. After receiving critical and commercial success, it was expanded upon in
게임 공장
2022
모임.
with the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, a reimagining of the game for consoles
Yay!
and home computers. The Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe features exciting new content that broadens and
콘텐츠를
expands the world of the
주입하는구만.
Stanley Parable, delighting audiences the world over.
그래서요?
Please step inside and see what thrilling new adventures await
우와.
in the Stanley Parable
가자!
Ultra Deluxe.
Oh, well, this sounds delightful. I'm very excited to see the thrilling new Ultra Deluxe content.
내가 더 할 수 있는 게 없나? 그냥 따라가는 것밖에
Okay,
못하나
so
봐.
far it's an elevator. Nothing special yet, but I'm sure it's just the beginning of a
재밌겠다.
mesmerizing adventure.
저기요.
Is it broken? What's going on here?
저기요 안 열리는데.
Should we be moving somewhere? Oh,
선생님.
here we go. All right, finally,
가자!
at long last, it's on to the new content. I've never been more ready. Let's do it.
출발! 저 답답해요. 저 폐쇄 공포증 있어요.
I have to say, initial impressions of Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, mostly tedious. It's as if oh,
새로운 거 나왔다.
let's see the content. Give me the content, Stanley.
가자.
All right, let's see. It's
와
the
점프!
jump circle.
와 점프가 가능하네. 점프. 점프가 가능해 스탠리에서. 오예. 뛰어. 헐. 하나 둘셋넷 둘셋넷 하나 둘셋. 재밌다. 오예.
부디 1번 남기지 마세요.
하.
Is that it? Surely that's not all the new content. There has to be something else, right?
오, 궁금한가? 어? 아니, 폰트가 깨졌는데요? 압수당했어. 아니 컨텐츠 다 즐겼어. 아니 창렬 환불이요.
Goodness, another elevator.
아이, 뭐야?
Stanley, I have to say, initial impressions of this game are not positive. It's just elevators and jumping. Is this what passes for exciting new content? If this is new content, then I could just read you the whole dictionary. There's 20 hours of new content right there. Hell, I could count to 30 trillion. You could put that on the box. The Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, now with over 1,000 hours of new content. And oh wait.
뭐야. 다음 층이네. 아, 역시.
Yes.
기대하고
I knew
있다고?
there had to be something else. Let's see it. I'm ready for whatever it is.
뭐가 있죠? 새로운 콘텐츠를 플레이해 주셔서
That's it?
감사합니다.
Oh, you've got to be kidding me. You see, Stanley?
이 끝이야?
This is what happens when greedy video game developers
비디오
with
게임
no respect for
개발자들이
their fan base
존중하지
rush a
않았을
cheap
때.
expansion to market for no reason other than to make an easy dollar. And don't get me started on the level of craftsmanship that's gone into it. In fact, I'm looking right now at the game's achievements, and it's hard to believe one of them actually says,
테스트용
test
도전 과제
achievement,
무시해주세요.
please ignore. What quality assurance department signed off on this?
아,
I'm
개비싸네.
infuriated and I'm offended, and I intend to find these people on Twitter and hold them personally accountable. It's my fault, Stanley. I built up too much anticipation around the new content, I'm afraid. It could never have
아니,
lived
문도
up
안
to such
열려. 싫어요?
expectations. If you're still with me, why don't we just
진짜
reset
끝이라고?
the game and we'll try to get back to what the Stanley
아니,
Parable is really about.
진짜 끝이야?
No frills, no gimmicks. Just you and me having a great time together
아니,
like always.
이게 뭐야?
What do you say, friend?
뭐야? 에? 그 회사가 나레이터 어디 갔어? 에?
Psst. Stanley, come over here. In the vent. I want to show you something. Oh, you don't want to see the cool surprise I made for you? Well, fine.
말 들어볼까? 좀 궁금한데? 뭔데?
Oh, you're not.
야! 너 왜 그래 나한테? 커피에 미치다. 가볼까? 자꾸 나 도발하네.
Okay, you remember how cheap and unsatisfying the new Ultra Deluxe content turned out to be? Well, it got me thinking about the past and how much better the Stanley Parable used to be. So I made something special and tucked it away here where the game's developers won't find it. Just our little secret. Take a look.
야, 이거 무슨 게임? 오하니!
I call it the memory zone. It's where I've been storing all my favorite memories so I can relive the peak experiences of my life whenever I want. Experiences like the launch of the Stanley Parable on PC.
추억의 공간. 와, 완전 인스타 감성인데, 이거? 전화도 있고.
You see, Stanley, doesn't the memory zone remind you of how wonderful
2013년.
Stanley Parable was before it was sullied with a
추억.
cheap re-release? Remember
달콤한
back in
추억.
October of 2013 when the game originally launched? Back then, video games had integrity.
좋았던
Back
한때.
then, it all meant something. Oh, the waste.
오리지널. 옛날 추억 회상하네? 아니 이거 너무 틀 같은데요? 데모. 하, 박물관 느낌으로 해놨군요. 뭔가 아카데미 수상후보. 쩐다. 작은 스탠리? 귀여워. 뭐야. 교수님 감사합니다. 에?
And over here is where I keep reviews of the Stanley Parable.
그것도
Like the
리뷰도
stunning
잊지
triumph
마세요.
of games journalism. 10 out of 10 from
이
Destructoid.com.
리뷰만 빼고요.
James Stephanie Sterling writes, and I quote, "Where so many games that aspire to be more than games end up less than any form of art, Stanley Parable strives and then succeeds to be every game ever created." Did you hear that, Stanley? Every game ever created. That's how grand and all-encompassing the original Stanley Parable was. It was literally every game ever created. It was Skyrim, it was Persona 3, it was all of them. And now, it's nothing. It's no games at all. It isn't even the Stanley Parable anymore. It's just a husk now. A lifeless husk with an hour of new elevator content.
뭘까? 고상한 향수 그땐 좋았지. 오리지널과 보수구역 안 들어가지네요? 못 가나? 올해의 인물 스탠리 패러블 오리지널 리메이크 뭘까?
Here's another moving passage, this time from
정말.
GameSpot.com. The Stanley
나
Parable is
진짜
both a richly stimulating commentary on the nature of choice in games and one that offers some of the most enjoyable, surprising
자랑해.
and rewarding choices I've ever been confronted with in a game. 9 out of 10. Don't you get it, Stanley? The game was perfect. It didn't need anything else. It didn't need new content. It just needed to be left alone. To spend the rest of time collecting dust in the hallowed hall of beloved video game memories.
사람 겁나네. 문이 열렸다? 여기 어떻게 가라고? 진지한 방. 어떻게 가라고 이거? 응? 진지한 방은 어떻게 가? 못 가는데?
These were simpler times, Stanley. But I wouldn't give to go back to have it all over again. Wait, hang on.
열렸다.
I don't recall this part of the memory zone before. What's this? What's down here?
여긴
Oh
어디일까요?
no! Oh God, no! Stanley, it's a collection of reviews from Steam, the online video game distributor. I haven't looked at these in years. I can't even imagine what's been collecting down here. Surely these reviews were glowing as well, weren't they?
개 무섭네. 안 돼.
Honestly, I could not be bothered to play this game to full completion. The narrator is obnoxious and unfunny, with his humor and dialogue proving to be more irritating than entertaining. Unfunny! I'm not trying to be funny. I'm trying to make a serious work of art. I suppose I could write up a handful of gags to insert into the Stanley Parable, but the game is already such a densely layered web of profound philosophical insights
와, 다
that I can't even
스팀 리뷰인가 봐.
imagine where I'd have the room to stick them.
아, 실제 리뷰를 가지고 온 듯? 오, 이것도 실제 리뷰인가? 아, 가려놨어, 까비. 박쥐 부럽다. 나도 당하고 싶어. 나도 악플.
Okay, let's see what this level says. While the idea for the game is good, for someone who prefers non-linear games, this preachiness gets annoying fast. Preachy?
3시간이나 했네.
Stanley, I'm not preachy, am I? You can tell me if I'm preachy,
설교적이긴
honestly
해.
you can. Oh goodness, this is actually quite shocking for me. I always, well, to be honest, I had always thought of the game's dialogue as being rather terse to begin with. You can't know how much fluff I cut from the game to get it to feel as light and airy as it... Well, I always thought it did. But maybe it wasn't.
비 오네.
Oh dear.
고마워.
What an awful memory to have to hold on to. These black marks on my otherwise unimpeachable track record. I feel like a failure. Like I let
평가.
these people down.
여기 왜 이렇게
Perhaps the Stanley
황폐하냐고.
Parable isn't quite as sterling as I always remembered.
저기도 안 좋은 평가 있네. 비추천.
What's this one got to say? You constantly have to stop doing anything so the narrator can catch up with his long-winded explanations of what's happening. I wish there was a skip button. A skip button? Well, yes.
어?
Yes, I
넣어주나?
think we can do that. If I'm truly too preachy, then maybe letting you skip ahead for just a moment, surely it couldn't hurt.
근데
Not if
9시간이나
it
해놓고
means we
저런
can
말을
strike
한...
these negative
오.
reviews from the record. Only
오, 뭐야,
positive
뭐야,
reviews
뭔데,
of the
뭔데,
Stanley
뭔데?
Parable. That's my motto today, and it's always been my motto. I'd do anything for the customer, Stanley. Yes, a skip button
스킵
we
버튼을
shall
안
have.
된다고? 우와!
And here it is. Go ahead and give it
다른
a
데에 더
shot.
있는 거
I'll
아니야?
pop you forward in time so that the second my incessant droning
아니네.
starts to bore you, with just the push of a button, you'll have zipped right past it. It's what the players have been asking for, and I'm very
Skip.
proud to have... Oh, you're back, you see? You were only frozen in time for a few minutes, but it was plenty of time for me to deliver a long,
Skip.
rambling monologue full of... Well, there, sport. You really did catch me rambling on a bit, didn't you? But that's the
진짜
power
말
of the button.
개많네.
The minute I start to go off
아니,
on
말
a thoughtless
개많네. 한 번
display
더.
of self-absorption...
스킵!
Okay, welcome back, Stanley. Now, I should say that the amount of time the
한 번
button
더, 한
has
번
been
더.
skipping through is becoming longer and longer. That last one was, well, I want to say maybe 30, 45...
가자!
Stanley, please don't push the button again. It's been 12 hours. You've just been frozen there. I don't know why the skips are getting longer, but they're really, truly getting longer. And my God, there's no way out of the room. Stanley, the door
문이
is gone. It's
없어졌어.
completely gone. I've looked at it from every angle. I've checked every one of those walls 1,000 times.
안
And there's
열리는데?
no door, Stanley. There's no door. There's just you and the button. And if
버튼.
you keep pressing it, I have no idea what
안
will
누를래,
happen.
그럼.
I have no idea how long I'll be made to sit here. And more than anything else, I don't know how to stop you from pressing the button again. I can't control anything in this room, Stanley. I can't touch it. And I have to believe. I have to know that sooner or later, no matter how much I plead with you, you're going to press the
아, 근데
button
말
again.
진짜 많네!
Stanley, you're back. You're back. Oh my goodness. I have someone to talk to again. Stanley, I think it's been a
일주일?
week. Or 2 weeks. I've been sitting here all that time. just
불이
sitting
점점
here,
꺼진다.
Not a single person to speak with. And you'd think that that's just how it's always been, right? Me talking and you saying nothing. Would you think that it's exactly the same as always? Doesn't that feel like what we've already been doing? Me just talking? It isn't, Stanley. It isn't the same at all.
어?
Oh, hello. It's you. You're here
불이 다
again. What can
꺼졌어.
you- I have had time to think about you and about us and about everything we've been through. I've had so much time. I stopped.
한 번 더. 아, 나레이터. 어? 나레이터 어디 갔지? 어? 뭐야? 경보기 울리는데? 한 번 더 눌러볼까?
But they didn't understand the game was never meant to be funny. It was meant to have a point. It was meant to speak to the human condition. But where are the jokes? Where are the jokes? They bemoaned, they screamed, they gnashed their teeth and said, entertain us. It wasn't enough. They had to leave a pathetic little thumbs down review and make all of their pitiful demands. But then, he's talking too much, they said. First, he didn't entertain us, now he went...
미안해. 다시 나와줘. 어디 갔어?
The end is never the end, is never the end, is never the end.
얘 상태 안 좋은데?
Is never the end, 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 is never
상태 너무 안 좋은데?
is never the end, is never the end, is never the end,
막 끝나와.
is never the end, 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 is never the end.
야 진짜 안 끝나 게임이. 어? 부셔졌다. 무서워. 어? 벽이 생겼는데? 다시. 이게 맞나? 갑자기 시간이 너무 지났는데? 어? 왜 다시 어디 갔어? 아니 도대체 얼마나 지난 거야? 에? 무서워. 우와! 이제 안 되나? 스킵도 안 되네요? 다 어디로 간 거일까? 나레이터! 나와줘! 내가 여기 호수였는데? 여긴 사막? 나레이터! 어디 갔어? 돌아왔다.
All of his co-workers were gone.
저게 엔딩
What did it mean?
하나였나봐.
Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
당황스러운걸? 당황스러운걸? 스킵 안 누르는 것도 그러게 엔딩이. 야 아까 이거 없지 않았나? 아닌가? 있었나?
Oh, good. You notice my sign. Yes, I have something very exciting to show you.
뭔데? New content? 뭐길래 그래? 오 스킵 좋아요. 뭔데?
You see, Stanley, I've been reflecting on the Stanley parable. and about how roundly disappointing this ultra deluxe version has turned out to be. The original Stanley Parable was a landmark, and any new content for it should live up to that legacy. So forget this ultra deluxe nonsense. I say we take it one step even further. Which is why I'm very proud to announce for the first time ever, the Stanley Parable 2.
와.
Yes, you see, isn't this far superior to a measly re-release with a few minor additions?
끝은
Think of
절대로
all the
끝나지
new
않는다.
territory we'll cover with a fully fledged sequel.
4,000원.
An entirely
감사합니다.
new experience, built from the ground up. Why there are so many
보세요.
possibilities? It could go in so many different directions. This is what fans have truly been asking for.
뭘까?
Calling it the Stanley Parable 2 is just so much catchier than Ultra Deluxe, don't you
매력적이에요.
think? Ultra Deluxe? What does it even mean? But the Stanley Parable 2, now that's an artistic statement
새로운
right there.
콘텐츠는 빼고
It's
새로운
future-oriented. It
콘텐츠
screams
파트 2를
progress
추가.
and innovation and long-term franchising
따끈한
potential.
신상. 뭔가 더 많은 스탠리 패러블, 더 좋은 스탠리 패러블. 오. 진짜로 이런 의견이 나왔던 거 아닐까, 사실? 진짜로?
Now, to be clear, I haven't quite nailed down what exactly the Stanley Parable 2 is going to be, but let's take a look at some of the features I've been developing for it. I figure that if I can loosely organize a handful of interesting concepts, that surely the game will sort of naturally spring up around them.
진짜
It'll all
나왔던
work itself
아이디어들
out.
같은데.
Game development is much more of a fuzzy
Whoa.
magic than anything scientific or logical, really.
이쪽이 모델입니다. 와우. 뭔가 넷플릭스 보는 것 같다. 빨간색이 있어서 그런가? 우와! 버스도 있는데? 버스는 왜 넣었대? 이쪽인가요? 감사합니다. 우와, 이건 뭐야?
Here we are. Go on, try out some of the new features.
독점 게임을 플레이하는 플레이어의 이름을 말하는 버튼. 즐기세요 새로운 콘텐츠. 당신의 멋진 이름을 게임에서 들으세요.
For the Stanley Parable 2, I asked myself, what do players really want?
아가스
And of
스티브
course,
윈난
the first and
커트
most
TV
obvious
저스틴
answer
그리고
is that they
모두들.
want to be individually recognized and validated as people. So with that in mind, my first addition to the game is this button which speaks the name of the person playing the game. Isn't that wonderful?
못 누르는데? 오케이. 여기서 체험해 보세요. 와, 좋아요.
Sorry,
Oh.
I should have clarified.
Ah,
right
뭐야!
now, the button only says the name Jim. But of course, in the final game,
아니잖아.
this button will say your name, whatever name that is. Here, let's have you roleplay as Jim to really simulate the full experience of this feature. Just play along. I promise you'll
Jim.
love it. Okay, here we go. Let's take a deep breath, clear your mind, forget whoever you are, and simply become a person named Jim. I want you to imagine your Jim. Whoa, hold on. I wasn't finished setting up the
네네.
backstory.
죄송합니다.
If you don't properly roleplay as Jim, then you'll never understand the impact of this button. Otherwise, it's just a stupid button that says somebody else's name. Okay, we're doing it again, and this time let me finish first.
네.
Now, allow yourself to
내가
become
짐이요.
Jim. Imagine yourself. All right, fine, whatever. It's just a meaningless button that says Jim. Are you happy now? Get out of here. I'm done with this button. Why don't you go humiliate me in front of a different feature that I worked very hard on?
앵치만.
See, if you'd only played along, that would have been your name the button says. But no.
치지 마.
Instead, I can't even think about it. I'm taking the Jim
짐.
button
안
away.
돼. 아!
Jim.
짐! No! 짐! No! 아! 없어졌어. 망할. 다시 가보자. 뭔가 새로운 게 더 있겠지. 우와, 여기 넓다잉. 끝없는 구멍.
Maybe I'll only let people named Jim play the Stanley Parable too. They would appreciate what I've created here.
에필로그 같은데? 상품? 여긴 뭐지? 두 개의 문. 이 티셔츠야말로 최고의 새로운 콘텐츠다. 안심을 주는 양동이? 사무실 장식 끝없는 구멍. 오케이. QR코드 있다고? 어디? 찍혀 저거?
A common complaint of the Stanley Parable was that it was confusing and paradoxical, that it engendered a chaotic
양동이가
sense
설마
of
아까
reckless
그건가?
despair
양동이가
in
없는데
those
근데?
who played it. Well, I'm happy to say that after much consideration, I've engineered a clever solution to this fundamental problem with the game. It's the Stanley Parable Reassurance Bucket.
아 저게 뭐
You see,
대단하다고
Stanley,
저거를.
anytime you're holding the bucket, a sense of calm and ease will
아까
fill your
양동이
mind
출입
and your
금지
heart.
간판 있었는데 그게 이거 말하는
As long as you
걸까?
hold on to the bucket, the
왠지.
many disorienting contradictions of the Stanley Parable will feel perfectly normal and perhaps even comforting. You may
양동이
even come to
주세요.
long for the gentle embrace of jarring cognitive dissonance while the bucket is in your arms. And to be honest, it's a much more convenient solution for me than actually redesigning the game to be less uncomfortable.
뭐?
Can you imagine what a pain in the ass that would be? Yes, the bucket is the perfect solution. Come
나 우와. 이야. 뭐야 이씨.
Can you feel it? The glow of comfort, even in the face of
뭔
crushing
개소리야,
despair,
진짜.
must already be sweeping through your body. And in
양동이
fact,
주는
can I say that I do believe the bucket lends you an air of charisma as well? I
안심된다.
think that just holding it has made you the slightest bit more attractive as a person.
긴장돼요.
The benefits of the bucket seem to go on, don't they? All this and more await you in the Stanley Parable 2.
양씨 가문이네 그러게. 뭐야 이거 들고 가? 이거 왜 들고 가서 뭐해? 이거 내려놓게 해주세요. 아 필요 없다고요.
Does anyone give out awards for most enjoyable bucket in a video game? That really should be an award if it isn't already.
어이가 없네. 이거 다 즐기게 해주려나?
Okay, I'll be honest, I haven't yet
Wow.
decided on this one. I think that in the new version, the office could use a bit of decoration, like balloons. But I'm undecided on get well someday and
언젠간 잘 될
happy
거야.
12th birthday. Which would you go with?
난 못 고르잖아. 양동이. 우와! 언젠간 잘 될 거야. 12살 생일 축하한다 조카 녀석아. 뭐 할까? 나는 언젠간 잘 될 거야.
You know, sometimes when you solicit another person's opinion, it makes you realize that you knew which one you actually really wanted all along. Happy 12th birthday,
아, 이게
Stepniece,
뭐야!
it is. Or actually,
쓸모없어.
maybe I should have gone with... No, I've made my decision, we're moving on.
우와. 아니 너무 넓은데요 여기? 스크린샷 금지. 여기 너무 넓은데? 시간 깊이 구멍 무한대 추락 구간 과학 뭐야 이게?
Stanley, here's an idea that I'm truly fond of. It's never been done
낙사
before in a
구간인가?
video game. This is in fact a hole that you can fall down forever. That's
좋아요.
right. Infinite falling. You
가자,
can fall
양동이.
until the end of time if you like. A stunning leap forward for video games as a medium.
가면 돼? 와! 떨어진다!
You see, isn't it wonderful?
아, 저기
One of my more
언제까지
ingenious
떨어져요?
concoctions, if I do say so. Now then, since you've gotten to see the infinite hole, you can press the teleport button to pop back up to the top,
진짜
and we can continue
개쓸모없어.
onward.
쥐를 눌러서 위로
Great.
돌아가세요.
Now, I'm very excited to show you even more of my ideas for the
진짜
sequel.
쓸데없어. 안 봐요, 안 봐. 아, 양동이 좀 2개 해달라고요, 제발. 아니 뭐냐고. 아니 양동이 좀 2개 해줘 제발. 안심이 된다고요? 김치만. 공짜로 새롭고 쉬운 도전과제 얻기 바로 달성하세요. 여기서 받아가세요. 네. 공짜 도전과제 레버를 당기세요. 새로운 도전과제를 받으세요. 이 이상 절차는 없습니다.
Now here's something special.
어디?
You remember that broken test achievement that got left in the game on accident? Well, I'm developing a technology to simply give you the achievement.
Oh.
Yes. You see, you'll come to this lever, and when you pull it, the achievement will... Okay, perhaps I should have clarified. This is technology that will exist. Right now, the achievement
아니, 안
is still
됐잖아!
fully broken. I'm not a wizard, Stanley, but I guarantee it will be fixed in the sequel. To at last satisfy the hordes of ravenous fans all over the world who have been uproariously demanding
야!
the sequel.
죽을래 너?
We hear you, and I promise it will happen.
아니 안 될 거면은 왜 준 거야 이거를? 개열받네. 다음 거 어딨어? 아니 바로 달성된다면서 지금 안 되잖아요.
What else? What other exhibits haven't we seen yet?
가이드. 그 뭐부터 봐야 돼요? 당신은 여기 있습니다. 출구가 2가 출구면 출구는 지금 아직 가면 안 돼. 아까 그 에필로그 보자. 볼 데가 없네. 스크린샷 금지. 에필로그.
An epilogue would be fun, wouldn't it, Stanley?
네.
Yes. Yes, it would go at the end of the well, we'll figure that out later.
여기 길이 있네? 뭐 어디로 가는 거야? 설정하기 세계 챔피언 끝없는 군무 공짜 도전 과제. 여기는 안 가본 것 같다. 설정하기 엥? 뭐야 이게? 저 QR 코드? 저거 되려나? 기다려봐.
You know what? Let's bring the jump circle
안
back to Stanley Parable 2 as well. It's... Oh, wait. You already spent all your jumps the first time we saw the jump circle. Oh, well. I suppose it can just be a nice
좀
decorative
반대요.
piece, then.
no. 상품에서 QR코드 찍어볼까? 나올까요? 제가 한번 찍어보겠습니다. QR코드 렌즈. 오케이. 스탠리, 왜? 스탠리 패러블 2 후속작? 스탠리 패러블과 속편이 되기 위한 여정에 대해 자세히 알아보려면 아래 영상을 시청하십시오. 신작 게임입니다. 남은 전시에도 즐거운 관람 되십시오. 뭐야? 약간 스탠리 패러블 2로 보이는 사이트 같은 거 나오는데? 님들? 해보세요 한번. 내가 핸드폰으로 찍은 거라서 근데 사이트를 만들어놨네? 뭐지? 이러면 착각하게 되잖아. 찾을 수 있을까요? 없을까요? 우와!
Ah, collectibles. Now it's a real video game. In the Stanley Parable 2, you'll run around gathering up these miniature Stanley figurines. And what's truly innovative is that there will be no reward for collecting all of them. I don't want to stifle the intrinsic joy of watching a number go up. You simply collect all of them, and then you move the hell on with your unremarkable life.
나 어디로 나가야 돼? 에? 저기요! 길을 모르겠어요! 뭐야 저거? 양동아. 이게 사람이었구나. 에? 진짜 개열받는다. 아 진짜 개월 받는다. 아 나 개월 받는다 진짜. 아, 개똥겜 보는 거 같네 무슨.
When you collect everything in a video
아,
game and then they give you
개월받는다,
a big
진짜.
fancy reward for it. Absolutely tragic.
아, 나 개월 받는다. 아, 진심. 아, 쟤 왜 이렇게 꼴 받지? 아, 왜 이렇게 꼴 받냐?
All right. Have you seen everything you wanted to? Ready to move on now?
아, 열받아. 설정하기 세계 챔피언이요? 그거 안 봐지던데? 그거 안 봐지던데? 딴딴딴딴 빰빠라빰빠라빰 가보자. 아 설정에서 모든 설정 건드리면 갈 수 있어? 오케이 해본다 그럼. 그럼 해본다. 어디로 가더라? 전부 치대치로? 와 귀찮긴 하다. 변태 같은 게임이야. 매번 느끼지만. 가자. 이쪽으로 가가지고. 그래 왠지 설정이 있을 것 같긴 했어. 7255 기억해둡시다. 7255. 이것도 해도 되나? 아 귀찮네. 이거 그냥 건들기만 하면 안 돼? 그냥? 건들기만 해볼까? 오 마이 갓! 오 마이 갓. 이유. 됐나? 이거랑 W S A D 스페이스 E 컨트롤. 오! 안 열려. 이것도 해볼까? 그리고 또 뭘 건드려야 돼? 이거? 됐나? 야, 다 건드렸잖아! 일반 스크롤을 내릴 수 있다고? 아. 보통 80. 귀찮게 하네. 아, 나 진짜. 설정 초기야. 아니야. 아, 이건 안 될 것 같은데? 아니야. 안 될 것 같은데? 누르기 무서운데? 아, 왜 안 되는 것 같죠? 어? 다 바꿔야 되는 거 아니냐고? 냠냠. 왜 안 되는 거 같지? 안 되는 거 같지? 모르겠다. 마우스 말고 숫자를 바꿔보래. 마우스? 숫자를 뭔가 근데 다 건드린 것 같은데. 그치? 이 정도면은 이거는 어쩔 안 되니까 일단은 패스합시다잉. 일단 안 되니까 패스 좀 할게요. 전부 최대치로? 그냥 되는 거 다? 그럼 되는 거야? 안 돼! 안 돼, 안 돼! 안 돼, 안 돼! 하고 싶은데. 그게, 아, 여기 있다. 이것도 안 돼 있네. 안 돼, 안 돼! 뭘로. 정확도가 좀 낮다고? 맹맹맹맹. 슬라이더 숫자? 아, 이거를 설마 다 봐야 되나? 이런 식으로? 그래야 되는 거 아닐까? 아닌가? 챔피언이 괜히 챔피언이 아니구나. 뭔가 이 게임이라면 가능할 것 같아서 일단은 해보겠는데 그래도 모르겠다. 안 되네요. 이거 그냥 일단은 패스할게요. 좀 오래 걸릴 것 같으니까. 야야야. 뭐임? 뭘 건드려야 되는지 모르겠네, 정확히. 아, 그거 궁금하긴 한데 여기가 아니구나. 어떻게 해야 하는 거야? 갑시다. 뜨뜨뜨뜨. 아쉬워. 나가요. 나쁜 스탠리. 새로운 머그잔. 스크린샷 금지. 뭐야, 뭐 알려주려고?
So, Stanley, what do you think?
자막 켜기.
Do you like all of the new features?
뇨뇨뇨뇨뇨뇨뇨뇨뇨. 영화로 나온 잠.
Yes, I know it's not exactly clear yet how exactly these features will come together as one single coherent video game, but I can feel it in my soul. It's going to work. There's definitely a good game in there somewhere. Say, let's do an experiment. I'll
Wow.
arrange these new features together and we'll see whether or not it coheres into a meaningful gameplay experience.
뭔 소리야 이거?
Okay. Are you ready?
네.
Here it is. I give you
두근두근.
the Stanley Parable 2.
와크.
Well, I
와,
mean,
저기
there's
하나,
potential
둘,
here,
셋,
right?
넷.
It's sort of.
네 개 모을 수
Okay,
있다. 못 내려가나?
hold on.
모으고
Let me do a
싶어.
different arrangement.
안 돼.
Yes, this is much better. I feel good about this. Here we go. Version 2. Who am I kidding, Stanley?
더
This isn't a
엉망인데요?
coherent video game at all. It's a lot of gags. And I do very much enjoy creating gags, but they don't add up to anything. I wanted more than anything to create a sequel that would capture all the magic of the first game. I wanted fans to love it. No matter how good these gags are, they won't stand on their own. They would need the structure and the gameplay of the original. Wait, maybe that's it. I can take the original Stanley Parable and simply, well, insert a few of my new features into it. Tastefully, of
저
course.
나다.
With respect. With care for the vision and integrity of the original game. Would it possibly work? I suppose it could. But it would need a really, really tremendous title screen. A title screen that says with bold and uncompromising conviction, this is the Stanley Parable 2.
지금 내가 하고
Let
있는
me see if I
건가?
can whip something up. All right, perfect. Go ahead. Take a look.
좋아. 에. 아 미친 게임이네 진짜. 아 진짜 미친 게임이네. 공포 게임 아니냐? 와. 스킵하려면
This is the story of
클릭하세요.
a man named Stanley. Stanley worked for a company in a big building where he was employee number 427. Employee number 427's job was simple. He sat at his desk in room 427 and he pushed buttons on the keyboard. Orders came to him through a monitor on his desk, telling him what buttons to push, how long to push them, and in what order. This is what employee 427 did every day,
풍선 달려 있는 거죠?
every month,
제정신인가?
of every year. And although others might have considered it soul-rending, Stanley relished every moment that the orders came in, as though he had been made exactly
뭐가
for
달라졌을까?
this job. And Stanley was happy.
에?
And then one day, something very peculiar happened.
스탠리
Something that would
왜라고
forever change Stanley. Something he would never quite forget. He had been at his desk for nearly an hour when he realized that not one single order had arrived on the monitor for him to follow.
이제
No one showed up to give him instructions. call
아니
a
이
meeting,
제토를
or even
시작한다는 게
say
너무
hi. Never in
충격적이다.
all his years at the company had this happened. This complete
12살
isolation.
생일
Something was
축하한다.
very
조카
clearly
녀석아.
wrong. Shocked, frozen solid, Stanley found himself unable to move for the longest time. But as he came to his wits and regained his senses, he got up from his desk and stepped out of his office. All of his co-workers were
얘네
gone.
이래놓고 진짜
What could it mean?
이래놓으라 그러면
Stanley
어떡하려고
decided to go
그러냐?
to the meeting room.
정말.
Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
놀랍다. 아 말도 안 돼 진짜. 거짓말이지. 여기는 왜 닫아놨대? 뭐야 이거? 양동이도 있다고요? 어디? 양동이가.
Stanley picked up the bucket.
아 이게 뭐야? 이런 거 원치 않았어. 아니 안심이 되는 거는 모르겠고 이거는
Stanley
뭔데?
clutched the bucket tightly to his chest.
가슴으로 강하게
entered the
끌어안고
door and left.
왼쪽 문으로 들어갔습니다. 뭐가 달라지는데? 뭐가
Still, no
달라지는데?
one was here. Stanley needed the bucket's warmth and comfort more and more than ever.
그
Perhaps
양동이가
his
스탠리
boss's
이
office
본편이라고.
was where
아,
he'd find answers.
청소 도구함에 설마?
Oh, Stanley, can you feel it? The broom closet. It wants the bucket. You can feel that, can't you? The aura of jealousy. It's as clear as day. This broom closet believes it deserves the
이거 또라이
bucket.
같은 소리야.
I can really feel it now. It's a bucket. It belongs in a broom closet. That's what the broom closet is trying to say here. It's supposed to go with the other cleaning supplies. Good for you, Stanley. Don't give in. Don't hand over the bucket. I know how hard it must be.
안
Given
돼.
the pressure that the
양동이는
broom
여기
closet
있어야
is
돼.
putting on
모든
your
게
shoulders
양동이를
right now, but
창고에
you have to be
돌려놓기
strong.
위한
This
복선이야.
is your bucket. This is your companion and lifelong friend.
양동이는 여기 있어야 돼.
Hand it over. Oh no. We're getting into name calling now, it seems. Is this how low the broom closet has sunk that it has to resort to this stream of petty insults simply in order to get you to hand over the bucket? Stanley, I never liked this broom closet for a variety of reasons, but even this is worse than I had imagined. And wait, now the broom closet has the gall to imply that you and the bucket are not truly deep and lasting friends.
정신병 아니냐고
That
이
your
정도면.
relationship is purely superficial and convenient? That your life is so banal and meaningless that you'd feel the same sort of kinship towards any inanimate object which happened to lay in your path in an even partially enticing manner? Well, I never. Go on, Stanley. Lay into it. Really tell
Okay.
the broom closet off for its demeaning comments. Expand on the wide variety of experiences you and the bucket have shared together. Go through each of them point by point. Share your journal entries
skip
detailing
버튼은
the
안
rich
넣어줬대?
emotional landscape of your feelings for the bucket as they have changed and evolved over the years. Let him have it.
제정신인가? 어디로
Okay,
갈까?
coming to a staircase,
이거.
Stanley and the bucket walked upstairs to the boss's office.
내려가면 뭐가 나올까요? 우와!
You
우와!
found one of the miniature Stanley
찾았다!
figurines. Remember, no reward for collecting all of these, only the
아,
intrinsic
찾았다!
pleasure of a job
나이스!
well done. You can't buy that sort of happiness, Stanley. God knows I've tried. So, I implore you to savor each and every moment you come across one of these beautiful figurines.
진짜 저 뒤에 배경 좀 치워내고 싶어. 똥겜 냄새 나.
But Stanley just couldn't do
오,
it.
내려와
He
버렸다.
considered the possibility of facing his boss, admitting he had left his post during work hours. He might be fired for that. And in such a competitive economy,
난
why had he
양동이와
taken that
함께니까
risk?
괜찮아.
All because he believed everyone had vanished? His boss would think he was crazy. And then, something
비상구.
occurred to Stanley.
어?
Maybe, he thought to himself, maybe I am crazy. He looked down at the bucket in his arms. Am I crazy? He asked the bucket.
양동이에게
The bucket
물어봤습니다.
returned his gaze, but said nothing at all.
미친 거
Not
맞잖아.
strange, Stanley thought. Usually the bucket is a source of guidance and wisdom for me in difficult times such as these. He held the bucket close, yet felt none of its familiar reassurance and comfort. And that's when Stanley realized, this isn't my bucket. It's just a normal, everyday bucket. Someone else's bucket, perhaps. How did I end up with someone else's bucket? This is all terribly wrong. Surely no good would come from this. Who knows what sorts of bizarre hallucinations Stanley might experience without the psychologically grounding presence of his bucket. And indeed, now he noticed that the wounds were repeating, which was, of course,
불안해졌어.
now he felt himself
우리
floating off
양동이
the ground.
돌려내.
Oh, gracious,
Oh,
he exclaimed.
뜬다,
Without
뜬다.
my bucket, I've gone truly mad. Where is it? I must find it. Far off in the
Find
distance
it.
now, he heard it, calling to him.
Stanley!
Ah!
Stanley, it's me, the bucket.
양동아.
Could it truly be? He rushed forward from room to room, passing by one bucket after the next. None of them were his. None of them
너무
were his
많아.
special bucket.
Come to me, Stanley.
너무 많아.
Stanley.
He had to find the bucket. He had to return to his old friend. It was the only way to truly restore his sanity. And then suddenly, he froze dead in his tracks. He knew where the voice of the bucket had been coming from. The real bucket was inside of him all along. It was incredibly painful.
그럴 리
Stanley
없잖아.
doubled over in agony and blacked out.
하.
This is the story of a woman named Mariella.
누구지?
Mariella woke up on a day like any other. She arose, got dressed, picked up her bucket
양동이
of
좀
comfort
제발
and security, and walked to
치우라고.
her place of work. But on this particular day, her walk was interrupted by the body of a man who had stumbled through town, talking and screaming to himself, and then collapsed dead on the sidewalk. Right away, she knew what the problem was. This man had no bucket. Of course, he'd gone mad, ranting and raving about a narrator describing all of his actions and how everything is predetermined and free will is an illusion and it's all just a video game. It could all have been prevented if only he'd taken his bucket.
이거
with
원래
him.
엔딩은 엄청 무서웠는데
그니까.
불쌍하다.
He'd forgotten his bucket at
미친
home.
게임 됐어.
How cruel the world can be, Mariella thought, and she hugged her own bucket even tighter. But of course, she had no time
아니 왜
for this.
게임
There were a myriad of
변했냐고.
confusing problems she would soon have to confront at work, for which her bucket would provide absolute guidance and total clarity on everything. Heck yes, she thought to herself, my life kicks ass. And she backflipped all the way to work.
뭐야? 이건 또라이 같은 게임이야. 아 거짓말이야.
All of his co-workers were... Wait, no. This isn't the right office, is it? Is this Stanley's office?
예. 양동이를
Stanley
들고
lifted the bucket into his arms, and a wave of comfort rushed over him.
안락함의 물결이 그래도 멈췄습니다. 정신줄
Stanley
나버리겠네.
clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left.
엔딩 한번 봐보자. 아 진짜 이렇게 계속 게임한다고? 아니지 진짜. 어? 이게 뭐야? 완벽주의자의 직감을 믿어. 사무실 전체에 떠다니는 물체가 나타나. 어쩌면 우리가 수집 요소일지 몰라. 어떻게 그걸 봤다고 말할 수 있는가? 무엇이 저것들을 떠다니게 하는가? 누가 이 사진을 찍은 것인가? 우린 할 수 있다. 빨간 방? 피겐리는 찾기 어렵다. 힌트를 주는 건가? 행운을 빌어요. 은지 부탁드립니다. 사무실에 나가지 마세요. 여기는 없을까요? 전부 찾으면 보상이 있을 것이다. 없잖아! 전시 내부, 계단과 관련되어 할 일. 게임 같은 건가요? 넓은 방과 많은 상자. 아, 요거 힌트 준다. 벽난로 근처랑 빨간 방랑 모두 어딘가. 찾은 것도 알려주네. 됐어, 안 가. 올라가
Coming to a
봅시다.
staircase, Stanley and the bucket walked upstairs to the boss's office.
여기 왠지 있지 않을까?
Another
아하,
interesting
그럼
figurine.
그렇지.
This, you know, there really must be a snappier name for these things. What about mini stands? Stanley things. Or what about
Stanley?
Stanlerines? Yes, I think I like that. Another Stanlerine under your belt.
부자가 되는 건 범죄인가? 다른 것도 찾아보자. 스캔니. 오! 우와! 비즈니스 전략. 해위. 이건 어떻게 똑같냐? 다시 가봅시다. 일단 사장실에 가서 평범한 엔딩을 한번
Stepping into
봐야겠어.
his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Crushed by the weight of this revelation, Stanley may have broken down into an emotional
멘트가 다
dumpster
달라지는 것
fire, if
같다.
not for the soothing presence of the bucket. Even now, in his darkest of hours, did the bucket's warmth and guiding light pierce the dark clouds of confusion and chaos. It would be with him
그래서 비밀번호
always.
알려줘.
The bucket would, and he knew it. The two of them were
경남라면 이쪽 아니냐?
inseparable. At this point, Stanley was so absorbed in the tender spiritual connection he shared with the bucket that he didn't notice the keypad behind the boss's desk. Nor in his bliss of simply being near the bucket did he have any notion that the pin number for the keypad. But Stanley guessed the correct code by sheer luck. Was it that the bucket knew all along? Was the bucket guiding him?
양동이
Yes,
천에
this is
제발.
certainly the most logical explanation.
와!
I'm getting
나이스!
back to the name of these
스탠리!
little Stanley figurines.
Good.
And now I'm torn between Stanlerines and
Piggy.
Figleys. What do you think, Stanley? What name better encapsulates the intrinsic sense of happiness that you get from seeing a small number in the corner of your screen go up by
Stanley
one?
you.
Let me sit on it. I'm sure it will come to me.
다음. 아 근데 좀 두렵다. 엔딩 못 될지. 가보자. 엔딩이 못 될지 두렵다.
The elevator raced downward, plummeting towards an unknown fate. It would be all Stanley could do to keep himself together, if not for the bucket. Soothing him, comforting him, reassuring that in this darkest moment of uncertainty, he would be all right. The bucket is here for you, Stanley. Everything will be fine.
오. 여기 한번
Stanley and
가볼게요.
the bucket walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control
탈출구가
Facility.
있긴 한데 노말인지 한번 봐보지 안 봤으니까 뭐 달라진 거 있겠지.
The lights rose
Huh?
on an enormous room packed
충격?
with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold?
스탠리와 양동이가
Stanley and the bucket
궁금했습니다.
both wondered to themselves.
저기까지 가야 되나?
The monitors jumped to life,
해고된
and Stanley
모임?
nearly dropped the bucket in shock. Everyone in the office was being videotaped, monitored like guinea
Whoa.
pigs. The bucket had never seen anything like this, and it very nearly burst into tears as Stanley
양동이가 울음을 터뜨렸대.
reassuring it that everything would be fine.
내려가는 건가?
Was the
엘리베이터?
bucket under the mind control facility's influence
엔딩보다
as well?
구금 좀
Had
바꿔주면
the
안
bucket
되나요?
been told to do
게임장들하는
things it
별개로
didn't wish
쓸데없이
to
너무
do?
웅장해요.
What kinds of things does a bucket want to do or not want to do in the first place? These questions
양동아,
raced
걱정 마.
furiously in Stanley's feeble mind.
내가 지켜줄게.
No! He screamed into the bucket. He couldn't accept it. His own life in
No.
someone else's control. Never! He squeezed the bucket tighter. His
전
one
세계
friend in
유일한
the
그의
entire
친구를요.
world. At this point, he could trust no one except for the bucket.
그 양동이 성애자가 됐네 이제.
But here was the proof. The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions. Happy or
원래
sad or
이런 데가
content.
있었나?
Walking, eating, working, all of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible
가보자.
power over another human life. For he and the bucket would dismantle the controls for good. Two best friends,
되나?
Stanley and the bucket, up against the world.
오, 소리 큰 거 봐라.
Stanley and the bucket
끄는 게
waited in
맞겠지, 뭐.
blackness. Was it over? Yes, they had done it. Stanley and the bucket had defeated their
좋아,
greatest and
드디어.
darkest enemy, freed themselves from the tyrannical grip of the evil mind control machine. Freedom was now
우리 이제
mere moments
자유야,
away.
양동아.
Excitedly, the two of them began to discuss the kind of life they wanted to live once they stepped through this massive door. The bucket wanted to learn to roller skate. Stanley wanted to sneeze in every country on earth.
재채기를
Both of them wanted to begin watching a movie, any movie, but then
쓸데없어,
stop it
진짜.
halfway through and begin watching it in reverse from the end. True, it was a simple life they envisioned, but it was one they'd lived together, with one another to lean on, to trust, to support.
어? 뭐야?
What? Wait. What was happening?
저기요.
Why had the door stopped? Was Stanley and the bucket not about to be
안돼,
freed?
열어줘.
An unbearable silence filled the room, lingering in uncertainty.
어째서?
Until finally the truth hit Stanley square in the face. This building did not want the bucket to leave.
안돼, 양동아. 안돼.
Even the facility itself recognized the incredible calming presence of the bucket, needed the soothing warmth of the bucket, would go to any lengths. not to
사마.
harm the bucket. No. Stanley can't leave this place. Not while he has such a precious bucket in his arms. Not while this building has anything to say about it. Stanley realized he would
못
never
나가?
again leave this very room. But at least he has the bucket. To be trapped eternally in darkness isn't really so bad, Stanley thought to himself. As
어디로
long as I
가야 돼?
have my bucket with me, right? I'll be okay, won't I?
그런 양동이가
Stanley
있으면
gulped.
그게 호러야
Very
임마.
soon now,
진짜.
he was about to find out.
어? 아니 이러고 끝난다고? 그래서 진짜 개소리 하지 마셈. 전화 왔다. 여보세요? 여보세요?
Hello. This is a recorded message scheduled either by you or a person in your place of work. The purpose of this message is to warn you about the dangers of recorded messages. If at any time you believe you are listening to a recorded message, please terminate it immediately and cease all flow of information from the
Yeah.
recorded message
Uh-huh.
into your perceptual sphere.
Mhm.
Thank you, and have a pleasant day.
회의 오늘 피규어 탐색회.
The confusion and the chaos all seemed to melt away as Stanley embraced the bucket.
짜증나네. 이제 어디 가야 되지 나? 뭘 하면 되지?
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left.
네? 왼쪽으로 가서. 근데 진짜 찐 엔딩이 있을까? 넓은 방
같은 양씨니까 친하게 지내야지.
게임 같은 건가요? 1,000원 감사합니다. 오 깜짝아. 어디로 가야 될까? 빨간 파랑이면 아까
Coming to
오른쪽으로 가야
stairs,
되는 것
Stanley
같은데?
and the bucket walked upstairs to the boss's office.
아니면 그걸 꺼볼까? 그걸 꺼볼까 한번?
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover
아니
not an
켜볼까?
indication of
라고
any
해야
human
되는데
life.
반대로 말했네?
Crushed by the wind, but Stanley guessed the correct code by sheer luck. Was it that the bucket knew all
좋아.
along? Was the bucket guiding him?
빨리 가볼게요.
Yes, this is certainly the most logical
아,
explanation.
아니면 아까 그 탈출로도 있긴 했다. 탈출로도 있긴 했어. 탈출로 한번 가보자. 탈출구로 갑시다.
Stanley and the bucket walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control. Although this passageway had the word escape written on it, the truth was that at the end of this hall, Stanley and the
양동이는
bucket would
잔인한
both
죽음을
meet a
맞이할
violent
겁니다.
death. The door
아니.
behind them was not shut. Stanley and the bucket still had every opportunity
아니요.
to turn around and get
양동이
back
씨와
on
함께
track.
할 겁니다.
At this point, Stanley and the bucket were knowingly walking forward into a very painful death for each of them.
양동이와 언제나 영원히 함께야. 가자 양동큰. 이야. 에. 양동아. 안 돼.
As the machine whirred into motion and Stanley and the bucket inched closer to their demise, Stanley reflected on how meaningless the bucket's warmth and comfort had turned out
못
to be.
빠져나가나?
To be sure, it puts the mind and the soul at ease to embrace
네.
the bucket. But what use is a sense of ease
탈출해!
when you're about to be crushed to death? This is what Stanley thought to himself, and he sort of
안
kicked
돼!
himself for wasting so much time carrying a bucket everywhere. Farewell,
살려줘!
Stanley.
프린터 미연 씨 생각나자는 무.
Farewell, Stanley, cried the narrator, as Stanley and the bucket were led helplessly into the enormous metal jaws.
아
In a
맞다
single
이노님
visceral
있었지.
instant, the bucket's life came to an end as it was crushed violently to death. It was
스탠리
a
테러블.
shame, the death of such a magnificent
투는
bucket.
어디 갔어요?
It's true that all buckets are radiant in their own way, but this one stood above the rest. It was a glorious bucket to behold.
양동. 위대한 전시회에 오신 것을 환영합니다. 양동아.
Can you see how arrogant it was for Stanley to take a bucket like
한심하게,
this
양동이.
and to claim it for his own?
너무
Can you see
많은데?
the hubris that blinded him? Can you see that the bucket is far
불지옥
more
양동이.
noble than Stanley will ever be in his short life?
저기 양동이 올라간다. 나 감사합니다.
아직 군 믿고 있었다고 아직
동굴
방송
벽화.
중이잖아. 히히히히히.
고마워요.
No man can own a bucket, and certainly not a bucket as dazzling to behold as this one. It is man who should kneel before the bucket.
매달린 양동이.
이건 원래 엔딩이 뭐였지? 물음표.
어?
But there is something we can do.
뭐야?
Something we can do together, you and I, that will right this terrible wrong.
어?
Let Stanley die. Let him be crushed by the machine. Don't reset the game. Don't give him another
왜요?
opportunity to run off with another beautiful bucket.
안 돼요!
We can save the world's buckets from their treatment as tools and implements if only we let Stanley die together. The bucket shall take its place as ruler, as leader, as commander of a
싫어!
new world, a new vision.
뭐야? 이러고 끝난 거야? 에헤, 내 양동이.
Stanley knew the office layout like the back of his hand. It was only a matter of time before he found the others, wherever they were.
다른 데 가보자. 반대로.
Warmth spread through Stanley's arms.
피규어
With
다
the bucket in
모아보자.
his arms again, he was home.
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to
양동이 안
his chest. This was
가져가면요?
not the correct way to the meeting room.
평범한 엔딩 아닐까?
Stanley had felt the bucket
근데
calling
나
to
많은
him,
상자가 있는
telling
곳이
him
어딘지
that the
모르겠어.
employee lounge was
빨간
simply the place
파란색은
to be.
대충 어딘지
And
알
here
것
it was.
같은데.
Had the bucket turned out to be correct? Was no, never mind. The bucket was wrong. Stanley took the door on his left to go back to the
안
meeting room.
갑니다.
No, said the bucket. Don't go to the meeting room. Go somewhere else. The cargo lift, yes.
저긴가
Go.
혹시?
Good,
상자 많은
said
곳?
the bucket. Now ride the lift all the way to the top. There's something up there I need you to
알았어.
do.
Stanley did not question why or how this bucket was speaking to him. It should have
저쪽인가
alarmed
봐,
him, of
상자
course, because
많은데.
buckets can't talk. But Stanley chose not to think about this obvious fact. He was
따라가보자.
firmly convinced that the bucket had
저기도
spoken to him,
풍선해놨네.
and he unthinkingly did whatever the bucket asked.
가자.
In here, said the bucket. Go into this dark room over here.
Stanley once again obeyed
여기
blindly.
뭔가 있지 않을까? 없네? 수집 요소?
Now pick up the phone, said the bucket. Pick up the phone and it will take us back home, where we can go about life together.
알았어, 양동아.
This is the sad story of a man named Stanley and his bucket. Once upon a time, I
아니잖아.
gave Stanley a bucket because I thought he was lonely and could use a friend. And then, very distressingly, he began to believe the bucket could speak to him.
양동이 뭐야? 안녕 스탠리 나야 네 양동이. 나를 데리고 같이 가려면 L을 눌러.
The Stanley Parable Reassurance Bucket was merely meant to provide the comforting glow of companionship. It doesn't literally talk and give you orders. Whatever Stanley is hearing the bucket say to him is just in his head.
나를 데리고 함께 집으로 돌아가려면 R을 눌러.
Lately, I've been concerned about him. Wouldn't you be concerned as well? To see him delusional like this, obsessing over an inanimate metal object? I want to say something to him, but I don't know how I can convince him. I don't know if he'll listen
결혼한
to me.
거냐고. 씨. M을 눌러 일하러 가자.
Oh, I'll try anyway. Stanley, can you hear me? Listen to me. It's just a bucket. It can't
양동쿤.
think, it can't talk. All it will ever truly do for you is effectively transfer a liquid from one location to a different location. That's it. It doesn't do anything
양동이는
else.
살아있어. 저 시끄러운 사람 말은 듣지 마. F를 눌러. 오.
You see, he's not listening. He's still taking orders from the bucket. You know, once upon a time it was me he took orders from. Me he trusted and listened to. Now all he cares about is his awful bucket. This stupid hunk of metal.
M을 눌러 삶에서 나 외의 모든 것을 무시해버려.
It's sad, but I suppose he doesn't need me anymore. From now on, he's just going to cling to this bucket, this cold, empty
양동이.
bucket, this sort of shiny bucket. Well, I'll give it this. The bucket does have a nice shine to it.
너가 인정하면 안 되잖아. 내가 정말 존재한다고 믿는 거지. V를 눌러 집으로 돌아가.
Yes, I suppose on closer inspection that it doesn't quite look like your average hardware store bucket.
너무
It's just a
어두운데?
little more, what am I trying to say? Sturdier, more capable of transporting liquid. Like it would be better at moving an amount of water
양동
from
라이팅
one room
당해버림.
to another.
3를 눌러 나와 함께 똑같은 날을 계속해서 보내자.
Oh my God, what am I saying? Better at carrying water from room to room. It's a bucket. It's literally just a bucket. Why do I feel some need to point out the ways in which it's so much more than just a regular bucket?
H를 눌러 집에 가서 일하러 집에 가자.
Oh no.
오?
I'm having feelings for the bucket.
No, 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 no. What's going on?
어머,
Why
이게
do I
뭐야,
want
이게
to be with the
뭐야?
bucket? Hear what the bucket has to say. Do anything it asks. What's wrong with me? I don't understand. Perhaps if I had the bucket, this would be less confusing. Yes. The bucket could tell me what to do in this troublesome
여기도
situation. Stanley, give me the bucket. Give it to me. Give me the bucket, Stanley. I need it. Give it to me now.
눈을
Give it
감아?
or I'll...
다시 일하러 갔을 텐데. 뭐야 이거? 양동이 개 무섭네.
Gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting
아니
room.
근데
Perhaps he had simply
결론은 못
missed a map.
얻었어.
Stanley picked up the bucket and smiled. He'd never be alone again. Not truly alone. Not with the
에?
bucket around.
뭐야 이거? 원래 이랬나? 원래 이렇게 어두웠나? 에? 뭐야?
Stanley
내가
clutched
알던
the
방이랑
bucket tightly to his chest
다른데?
and entered the door on his left. This was not the correct way to the meeting room.
좀
But Stanley had
달라졌다,
felt the
그치?
bucket calling to him, telling him that the
근데
employee
상자 많은
lounge was simply the
곳이
place to be. And here it was. Had the
다른
bucket
곳인가
turned out to
봐.
be correct? Was it? No, never mind. The bucket was wrong. Stanley took the door on his left
다시 한번
to
가볼게요.
go back to the meeting room.
이쪽으로. 아까 그리고 전화 끊어도 다른 엔딩 나올 거거든?
Said the bucket.
Don't go to the meeting room. Go somewhere else. A cargo lift. Good,
Said the bucket.
Now ride the lift all the way to the top.
전화
There's
끊어도
something up there I need you to
다른 거
do.
나오고 여기로 가도 다른
Stanley
거
did
나올
not
텐데
question
여기 한번
why or
가볼게.
how this bucket was speaking to him. It should have alarmed him, of course, because buckets can't talk. But Stanley chose not to think about this obvious fact. He was firmly convinced that the bucket had spoken to him, and he unthinkingly did whatever the bucket asked.
가자. 양동이와 함께라면 무섭지 않아. 여기가 양동이 들어가면 안 된댔어.
No, stop! Look there on the wall, you see? There's a sign right there. It
Ah,
says,
왜요?
no buckets past this point. Stanley, how could you think it was okay to bring the bucket here?
아, 왜
Unless-
들어보내줘?
What if the problem is that you actually don't know what is a bucket and what isn't a bucket? I suppose that would explain a lot about your behavior up to this point.
아, 왜요?
Which, if that's true, well, my goodness, I think we have to do something about it. This misunderstanding could have dire consequences on the entire rest of the game if not addressed quickly and properly.
맞아, 얘는
So
평범한
much of the
양동이가
impact
아니라고.
of the story is dependent on your understanding of what is and isn't a bucket. Please, step in here.
아, 다른 곳으로 가야 되네. 이것은 양동이일까요?
Now then, I'm going to run you through some test scenarios and you'll tell me whether or not the thing I'm showing you is a bucket. Simple enough, right? This should tell us everything we'll ever need
내려가고
to know
싶어.
about what is or is not a bucket. Okay, let's begin. Item 1. Is this a bucket?
아니요?
Correct.
와,
It is
왜?
a hologram of a bucket, not an actual bucket.
이게 뭐야? 이게 왜 맞아?
Item 2. Is this a bucket?
이건 맞네요.
Incorrect. It is a
이런.
3D printed recreation of a bucket, not an
아 그럼
actual
어떻게
bucket.
구분하라고? 이것은 양동이일까요?
Item 3. Is this a bucket?
아 이건 아니에요. 아
Incorrect.
진짜?
This is a bucket. Item 4. Is this
이거는
a bucket?
네.
I'm hallucinating. This is a tractor. It's an enormous machine that tills the earth. I thought this was a gimmick. How on earth did you manage to screw it up? Absolutely incredible. Let's just move on to the next one.
양동인데?
Is this a bucket?
네.
Correct.
어?
This is a bucket.
내가 지금 이상한가요?
Item 6. Is this a bucket?
네.
Trick question.
아,
Earth.
뭐야!
Gotcha.
저거 그래서 뭔데?
Item. Wait, hold on. I can't find the next one. Let me see. Should be
끝났다.
around here somewhere.
응? 네.
Okay, you and I both know there isn't anything here.
없어요.
And I don't appreciate the implication that nothing is a bucket when we both clearly know that a bucket is something, and therefore nothing could possibly be something. Unless, in your twisted mind, have you somehow convinced yourself that a bucket is nothing? Answer me straight, Stanley. Do you believe that nothing is a bucket?
네.
You know what? I'm too confused to even sort it out. I've lost all sense of perspective. What is a bucket? What isn't a bucket? Mere moments ago I could answer these questions with confidence. And yet now I'm somewhat adrift. Do any of us know what a bucket is? Am I a bucket?
내가 양동이일까?
Stanley, I can't keep doing this. I'm losing myself, and myself was all I ever had to begin with. I'm afraid the bucket is threatening to tear our relationship apart. I can't have that. I'm sorry. But I'm going to erase all buckets from the game entirely. Okay, here we go.
안 돼! 양동이 없애지 마!
What happened? Is everything gone? Why did everything disappear? Wait,
혹시
was everything a bucket? Every single thing in the game was a bucket. Oh my God, I had no idea. How could... Except me. I'm not a bucket after all. And you, Stanley, you're still here. You're not a bucket either.
모든 것은 양동이었던 거야.
We're not buckets. Yes, I actually feel much more at ease right now. It's delightful to get some clarity on that issue, but it doesn't change the fact that we haven't got a game.
조졌네.
So, tell you what, I'll reset everything and we'll put back all of the buckets, okay? And we'll know that it's all a bucket. But if you run into anyone else, maybe don't mention that. Who knows what that information might do to a person. All right, here we go.
가자. 세상의 만물 양동이설. 양동이들
All of
다
his co-workers
돌아왔다.
were... Wait, no. This isn't the right office, is it?
이건
Is
왜
this
이러냐?
Stanley's office?
좀 깨졌네요? 이것들은 양동이야. 양동아!
The good old bucket. Just Stanley and the bucket. Off on another thrilling adventure together.
아니 근데 그러면은 도대체 어디서 가져가야
Stanley
될까?
touched the bucket
전화를
tightly to his
끊어볼까
chest.
한번?
This was not the correct way to the meeting room. But
전화를 한번
Stanley had felt
끊어볼까요?
the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the
가볼게요.
place to be. And here it was. Had
그거밖에
the
없을 것
bucket
같네.
turned out to be correct? No. Never
은근 이게
mind.
모으고 싶게
The
만드네.
bucket was wrong. Stanley took the door on his left to go back to
그러니까
the meeting room.
빨간색, 파란색 방이면은 아까 저쪽이라 생각했는데.
said the bucket.
아니면 양동이를 안 들고 가면 되지 않을까?
The cargo lift, yeah, good, said the bucket.
양동이 꼭 들고 갈 필요는
all the way
없잖아.
to the top. There's something up there I need you to do. Stanley did
양동이를
not question
버리고
why or how
저기를
this bucket
가보자,
was
그럼.
speaking to him. It
빨간색,
should have
파란색
alarmed him,
빛이면.
of course, because buckets can't talk. But Stanley chose not to think about this obvious fact. He was firmly
자동으로
convinced that the
설마
bucket had
지워주겠어?
spoken to him, and he
저주 아닙니까?
unthinkingly did whatever the bucket asked.
버킷, 버킷, 버킷. 일단 전화를 끊어볼게요.
In here, said the bucket. Go into this dark room over here.
아, 나 히.
Stanley once again obeyed blindly.
키가 어디? 어디? 응? 아! 야, 저거 미친 거 아니야? 아, 나 저거 상자 많은 게 여기였구만. 아, 나 저거 진짜. 아니, 일단 엔딩은 봐야 되니까. 아, 나. 지금 떨어지면 될 것 같은데?
Now pick up the... Whoa, hold on. Why did you unplug the phone?
전화선 좀
Were
뽑을게요.
you trying to resist the bucket's orders? Stanley, I was joking. Obviously, the bucket isn't talking to you and telling you to do things. Buckets can't talk. It was a joke. Don't you get the joke? It's funny, Stanley. A talking bucket. Can't you see? Oh, goodness. I must have really bungled up the delivery if you actually took me seriously. Where did I mess up the joke? Should I have paused for longer or spoken quicker?
양동이는 살아있어.
Comedic timing is so difficult. I wish I were better at it. But there isn't exactly an instructional video on comedy that one can watch to fully... Oh, wait, yes, there is.
안 돼.
It's sitting right here. Let's take a look.
나 피규어 먹으러 가야 되는데.
What is comedic timing? What is comedic timing? How does it work? How
어떻게 해야
long should it
되나요?
last? How can it be used to effectively silence your political enemies? And more importantly, can it be taught in its entirety within 90 seconds? Thankfully, the answer to all of these questions is yes. Let's dive
그 와중에
deeper.
번역 개 잘했네.
If you've ever told a joke or made someone laugh, in all likelihood, you did it while standing 50 to 80 centimeters from
스킨
them in
못하냐?
a room of no more than
진짜 다 봐야 돼?
76 degrees Fahrenheit,
Holy
with one
shit.
of your arms raised straight upward at a 15-degree angle from your body. These are the optimal conditions for good comedic timing. To begin the joke, start by stating and spelling your name. Next, provide a brief synopsis of the joke, including the specific times at which the recipient of the joke will laugh, and then spell out your name a second time.
야 오늘 급식
With
뭐
these
나오냐?
steps complete, it's time to begin the humor. Speak the entire joke in no more than 18 seconds and no less than 13 and a half, pausing only for bathroom breaks when necessary. When the joke has concluded, it is customary to inform your listener that the joke is over by declaring in your loudest possible voice, I'm Dunny with the funny.
아
Let's
진짜
practice
극혐.
screaming, I'm Dunny with the funny now.
안다네. 끝났습니다, 람쥐.
Good. This saying is a perfect example of
진짜.
expectations management, which is the
짜증나.
cornerstone
언제
of good
끝나?
comedy. Finally, it's time to hand out surveys. Collecting hard data from your audience on how rapt they were throughout the joke is the only way to grow or learn as a comedian. An effective survey should be no less than 10 pages long and should include the same question reprinted several times,
돼.
just to ensure the survey taker is actually paying attention and not simply filling in answers at random. And that's all there is. With these
yeah.
strategies at your disposal, you'll have audiences doubled over in laughter and even tripled over in laughter in no time at all. Just remember to let them stop laughing at some point, you gut-busting little scamp. After all, with each of us needed on the front lines of the war to fight the 12-legged invader who threaten our very existence and to very likely die in a hailstorm of bullets and mandibles, all of us must be prepared to give our lives to this noble cause, just as our children must do after us, and their children after them. Godspeed, and may Earth reign supreme.
됐나?
Hey, goodness, this video is a little outdated, isn't it? Well, no matter. I think the fundamentals of proper comedic timing are still as relevant today as they were back then. So with that in mind, I believe the only way forward is for us to return to the two doors and walk through all of this again, so I can try telling my story with more appropriate comedic delivery. Come along, let's head back.
우와! 돌아가네? 오! 그게 안전장치 모임? 저기 없어졌다.
This time, I'm really going to nail the delivery. You'll be in stitches. A talking bucket, you'll say? How ridiculous. How absurd. What a hilarious concept. The king of comedy. That's what you'll call me. Thank goodness we had the instructional video. Otherwise, who knows where we'd be right now. Well, I wouldn't be the king of comedy, that's for sure. The bucket spoke to Stanley.
여기는 원래 못 가던가.
The bucket spoke. Oh, I'll figure it out on the fly. No need to overthink things.
어디로 가야 하나? 이쪽으로 가야 하나? 여기인감 돌아간다. 돌아간다. 버켓 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 버켓.
Here we go. You ready? When Stanley and the bucket came to a set of two open doors, they entered the door on the left.
오른쪽. 아?
What? We're back
Wow.
at the phone already?
됐다.
No, what's going on? There was supposed to be several rooms leading up to this. There was supposed to be a build-up to this point. A dramatic display of remarkable comedic wit which
설명충.
culminates in this scene with the phone. But now the timing's completely off. The joke will never land. Well, not the way it was meant to. And it's all my fault. I must have forgotten that
제발
the
한
phone
번
room
더
comes immediately
보여주면은 나
after the
죽을지도
two doors
몰라.
room. What an egregious mistake. I've made a fool of myself. I don't deserve the title of king
너
of
아까
comedy.
유머
I'm
관심
nothing.
없다며.
I'm not even the lowliest joke-telling whelp. I think
아, 안 돼.
I need to go
죄송해요, 제가 진짜. 아, 죄송해요. 잘못해서.
Surely that will help me.
아,
every way.
죄송해요. 어?
Here we go. You ready? When Stanley and the bucket came to a set of two open doors, they entered the door on the left.
갑니다.
No. You were supposed to go through the door on the right, leading back to the phone.
아니야, 안
Did you not even
돼.
look at the instructional
가면은.
video? I think this is all covered very
가면
clearly.
큰일
There's no
나요.
way I can make the comedic timing work now. It's done. The joke is completely
이것도 안
done and
열리네.
over. It's all your fault, Stanley. I'm going to be ridiculed in the community of other joke writers. I'm going to be shamed in every one of our meetings from now on. All because you couldn't watch a simple video and take a hint. Are you proud of yourself for bringing me down, Stanley? Are you proud?
뭐야?
Stanley, you love the bucket so much it's as though all of your other
아,
most
진짜
prized possessions
개끔찍해.
pale in comparison. Yes.
아!
Let me try that again, Stanley. I heard that you are pale with shame over how unabashedly in love with a bucket you
아,
are.
개그 실화냐?
Still not. Is it the delivery? Pale with shame. Pale with shame.
싼 게 엔딩이라니.
Pale. What's another word to describe a bucket? Stanley, this bucket is so metal. I think I saw it playing guitar. No. We're getting away from making fun of Stanley's obsession with the bucket.
거짓말이지. 아.
I'm no good at these.
아, 근데 아직 캐릭터 다 못 모았어요, 저. 캐릭터 못 모아서.
That's what will make me.
하나가 어딨지? 하나 위치를 모르겠네.
Let's see.
아, 피겐이 하나 찾아야 되는데 빨간 문, 파란 문. 양동이 안
All of
들고
his
가면 되나?
co-workers were gone.
빨간색,
What could
파란
it
하면은
mean?
나 그거밖에 생각 안
Stanley decided to
나거든.
go to the meeting room.
일단
Perhaps he
가볼게요.
had simply... Where are we going today? The bucket asked. Stanley just smiled.
아, 진짜 이게
Anywhere they
엔딩이
went
나오는데?
together would be perfect. Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his
거짓말.
chest. This was not the correct way to the meeting room. But Stanley had felt the
나
bucket
벌써
calling to
양동이
him,
중독인가?
telling him
그러게.
that the employee
중독됐나
lounge
봐.
was simply the place to be. And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be
청소
correct?
도구함에 뭐
No,
없던데?
never mind.
거기도 엔딩
The
있어요?
bucket was wrong. Stanley took
있을
the
거 없는
door
것
on his
같던데.
left to go back to the meeting room.
슥슥슥슥슥슥.
No,
Said the bucket.
don't go to the meeting room. Go somewhere else.
여기.
The cargo lift, yes. Go there. Go to the cargo lift.
저거 어떻게 먹냐? 오! 갈 수 있구나.
You're getting close now, Stanley.
나 하나
You've
남았다.
nearly gotten all of the Figler and Marines. Very soon, you'll collect the last one. And then the first number will equal the second
Yay!
number. And that will
와,
be it.
있겠지.
We'll
아니,
be
멍멍님
different people by
감사합니다.
then. Different in the sense that we used to
뭐
have
있겠지.
none of them. And now we have them all. You can't go back to when you had no Figler and Marines. None of us can.
뭐 하나는 있겠죠. 돌아가면 여기로 들어가면 될 듯? 에? 여긴 어디냐? 뭐 하는 곳이냐? 수많은 테이프가 있어. 에? 할 수 있는 게 없는 것 같은. 응?
Okay, this is day number 295. Tape number... I don't even know. I've lost track. Nothing feels real anymore. The longer I study this bucket, the less sense anything makes. The sheer euphoria I
딴 거
feel
연구하지 말라고 제발.
every time I pick it up. No matter how many times I've done it, it's always the same feeling. And the emptiness in my chest when I set it down. It doesn't make sense. There's no explanation for it.
부담스러워.
Still
사실 내가 집에
haven't figured
양동이가
out
없어서
why
저
I
기분을
see
이해
the
못하는
world
건가?
so
그러게.
differently when this bucket is in my arms. Why everything feels so. What do I do with this treasure? I can
아 진짜 약 빨고 만들었나 봐
I can
게임.
monetize it. Yes. It's unthinkable the amounts of money people will pay for even just an
아니,
hour
진짜로.
with the bucket. This is my golden ticket. But I have to be careful, because as soon as this gets out, there's going to be a target on my back. Even now, I don't know who might be trying to get me.
어,
What's that? Who's there?
뭔데 이거?
Camporata.
어? 에? 아, 뭔 개 같은 엔딩이야 이게! 에? 뭐야, 여긴 또 뭐야? 양동이 안 들고 갈래.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, this was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew
그
it
양동이
perfectly
들어가면
well.
안 되는 거
Perhaps he wanted to
가볼게요.
stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. And here it was, the lounge.
감사합니다.
But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
저 중간에도 궁금한데 기억이 안 나네 저거는.
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years
양동이
ago.
금지인 곳으로 가서
Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here.
아마 빨간색, 파란색 하면 생각나는 방이
I
그거밖에
realize that investing
없어가지고
your trust in
난
someone else can
그걸로
be
가봐야 될
difficult,
것
but the
같아요.
fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time. There's someone you've been neglecting, Stanley. Someone you've forgotten.
오케이 여기로 간
I
다음에
was in
그
the middle
방으로
of something.
가서
Do you have zero
시계 한 대를
consideration for
모아야 돼.
others? Are you
그거밖에
that
없어.
convinced that I want something bad to happen to you? Why, I don't know how to convince you of this, but I really
Don't
do
you find it
want to
convinced?
help you, to show you something beautiful. Look, let me prove it.
아,
Let me
여기
prove
있다!
that I'm on your side.
And there it is.
Yay!
The last Stiggly Wiggly. Savor this
다
moment, Stanley.
찾았다!
This is a real accomplishment. This is
그래서
doing
뭐 해줄
something
거야?
just for the sake of doing it. Where so many people expect to be rewarded for the most trivial achievements, you've insisted that a job
그래서
well done
보상은?
is its own reward. I would tell you that I'm proud of you for collecting them all, but that would be like a reward, and we can't have that. So, instead I'll just say,
뭐야
it's done.
끝이야 이러고?
We're all done here. And now we can go to whatever the
뭐?
hell you were doing before you hunted for figurines.
아니 이러고 끝이라고요?
Now listen carefully, this is important. Stanley walked through the red
저
door.
개소리 하지 마.
Aha, perhaps you misunderstood. Stanley walked through the red door. I still don't think we're communicating properly. All right, fine, go ahead, Stanley. You want to know so badly what's out there? You want to find out what lies at the end of this road you've chosen? Well, don't let me stop you. You see? There's nothing here. I haven't even finished building this section of the map. Because you were never supposed to be here in the first place.
양동이가 있었다면
Broken rooms,
달랐을 텐데.
exposed developer textures. Is this what you had wanted? Was it worth ruining the entire story I had written out specifically for you? Do you not think I put a lot of time into that? Because I
근데
did.
지금은 다 본
And in the
건가
end, it was
그러면?
all for nothing. Because this is what you wanted to see. Help me here, Stanley. Help elucidate these strange and unknowable desires of yours. What would have made this game better? What did you want to see? Vehicles? Skill trees? Work with me. You've given me absolutely
Please.
nothing so far. Tell you what. Let me take a stab in the dark at a new design and you can give me some feedback. There we go.
우와.
A third option. This already feels leaps ahead of where we were before.
직원
Go
휴게실
ahead,
아래쪽. 아
Stanley.
거기 안
Take it for a
가보긴
spin.
했어요. 뭐야 안 갈 건데 여기.
Okay, I'm going to stop you there. Now,
1점이요.
tell me about your experience with this new version. Would you say that the
여기는
game
근데 전이랑 아마
benefited from
똑같을
allowing you
거야.
more choices? Feel free to be honest. I'm looking for
여기는
some real
아마
critical
전이랑
feedback
똑같을 걸.
here.
여기 스킵해도 되려나?
A 1? I mean, I can understand if you had reservations, you saw ways the game could be improved to more fully express itself mechanically and artistically, but a 1? That's not even helpful. What am I supposed to do with that? But I guess it isn't my place to judge. Here, based on the data from your previous playthrough, I've compiled a new version. And to be perfectly candid, I think I've knocked it out of the park with this one. Let's take a look.
여기는 아마 똑같은 것 같아. 보니까 여기는 똑같은 것 같네. 여기 똑같으니까. 게임 다시 시작하게 하면 되나? 빰빰빠밤빰빰. 빰빠람빠람빠람빠람. 마켓.
Stanley, I'm sorry,
뭐야?
but I have to put a pause on things. It's those figurines, those figures. I haven't stopped thinking about them since you
이거?
nabbed every last one. Wasn't it just the most intrinsically fulfilling
양동이
moment of your
내놔요!
entire life? Didn't it fill you to the brim with inner richness? Yes, I know
아,
you're supposed to
뭐야?
be telling a story,
양동이
but
내놔!
won't you please indulge me with one more trip back to the
여기 오랜만이네.
I would love nothing more than to revisit the figurines just one more time.
마음이 편안해지는구만.
스탠리가 수집 녀석을 발견했을 때
하이. 새로운 곳이 생겼다. 아래로 가는 거 생겼네요. 맞아,
Here's where it
여기였다.
all began. The first collectible. Back then, we had no idea of how many of them we'd find. Sure, it said 6 right there on the screen, but how could we know for
여기 또
certain?
있네?
We were so innocent. We'll never be like that again, Stanley.
얻어볼까? 엥? 몇 개가 더 있다고? 아닌가? 뭐야 이거?
And here was the second Stanley.
어,
I'll be
찾았어.
honest. Back then, I had no faith in you to find any of them, let alone 6. But you
찾았는데?
continue to surprise me in all sorts of mundane, unremarkable ways.
엥? 이건 뭐야?
Okay, let's do a little
사장의
quiz.
화장실.
Which of these rooms was the room you
화장실.
found your third mini stand? Can you
이거
remember?
나 시험에 들게 하네. 이거 사장의 화장실에서 찾았는데, 역시. 시험에 들게 하네, 자꾸. 궁금한데, 여기 뭐지? 여기 뭐지? 여기로 가볼까? 근데 여기도 먹지 않았나? 여기도 있었던 것 같은데?
No. Behind the boss's
아니네.
office was the fourth place you found a Figanli, not the
찾았다.
third. Well, I guess perhaps I shouldn't be surprised. Memories like these are so precious and so cherished that they all just sort of blend together, don't they? You know what? If the boss's office feels like the third place you found a collectible, then who am I to go making judgments?
먹은 순서 따라가는 건가 봐.
Let's see. What came next?
우와, 이건 뭐야?
Oh yes, we found a Figley in this
아니야.
pink room. Oh well, I can't actually say I remember being in this room,
기억이 안
but it's
나는데요?
here in the memory zone, so it must have happened.
뭔가 속삭이는 소리가. 이거 처음인데? 누구세요? 감다리?
This was the fifth mini stand, and this one was really something special. It was in the warehouse. I
안
remember it so
죽어지네요.
clearly. In fact, because this one is particularly special to me, I made a little video to commemorate the occasion. Enjoy.
아. 저 뒤에 뭐가 있는 거지? 진짜 개구려. 다섯 번째 미니 스탠이다. 무비메이커 꺼라. 화물 리프트 가까이서 찾았어요. 시청해주셔서 감사합니다. 만드니 내레이터 다 나레이터잖아.
Takes you back, doesn't it? I spent a lot of time making that video, but it was 8 minutes I wouldn't have spent on anything else.
어? 뭐야? 저기 열린 건가요? 아, 맞네요. 어디로 가야 될까? 비트 감사합니다. 아, 여기서도 찾았었죠.
Then we came to the last collectible, the final figurine, right here by the red and blue doors.
Yeah.
This memory is the most distinctly clear in my mind, perhaps because it was the one that happened more recently than all the others. Who can truly say how the mind works? All I know is that this is the moment where you picked up a Figly and I thought to myself, yes, that's all of them. They're all collected. It was a moment unlike any other. Except for the other moments picking up figurines, which it was exactly like.
뭐, 나 어디로 가야 하는 게 아니라 다 똑같네요? 와. 당신은 지금 현재에 있습니다.
And then there was no more. Because we've caught up to the present moment. Nothing left to do but move onward into the future. Goodbye, memory zone. No, I'm not done. I'm not ready to move on. Stop the loading screen. Isn't there somewhere we can stay here, keep enjoying these figurines? Let's just go backwards. We'll do the memory zone again from the opposite direction. See how that feels.
로딩 줄어드는 거 개웃기네.
Okay, yes, the room with the red and blue doors. I remember this. I must say, of all the figurines we looked at in our initial tour of the memory zone, this one is the most distinct and clear in my mind. Let's keep going. I want more.
아니, 몇 개 모으는 거야? 여기서도 하나 더 있잖아.
And here's where I made that video. Don't you remember the video we watched?
아! 감사합니다. 내레이터.
Yes, I love that video.
제발. 여기도 있고.
Still don't remember the pink room, Stanley. Still no memory of this one. Good room, though. A solid room.
처음 보는 방이야.
These really were a treat to hunt
계속
down.
추억해서
If there
하는데.
had been any kind of reward for finding all of these, it really would have muted the intrinsic joy of collecting them. I'm very glad we resisted the temptation. Next one.
저거 추억 보정, 그러니까 추억 해석하네. 여기로 가도 되나? 안 가진다. 분홍색 방은 원래 안 나왔음 아예. 저쪽은.
This was our second Figly. Don't you remember? Yes, I remember it too. The past is truly a wonderful thing. Why
왜
does
그렇게
anyone ever
자꾸
choose to
과거에
leave it?
집착하는
Keep
거야?
going.
이놈아. 어?
This is it, the very first one we found in the exhibit where I introduced you to the figurines. Oh, I want more memories, Stanley. I want to keep going. What else is there? What came before this?
찾을 수 있을까요? 찾을 수 있을까요? 찾을 수 있을까요? 무서워. 왜 그래?
Look, it's the terrible new content that we were originally
맞지,
sold on.
맞지. 이런 컨텐츠
I remember
있었지.
hating it back then. but time does put a rosy filter on everything. In fact, I dare say I'm actually quite fond of it now. Look how much fun the past is. I want more memories. Oh yes, the 2 doors. Who could have forgotten that? A classic memory, this one.
어딜 가든 똑같잖아. 날 너무 잘 알아.
And before everything else, there was your office. Is there anything else? Was there something that came before your office? There's something I feel I can remember. I can remember.
난 기억 안 나.
Yes, I'm remembering something now. I remember before this whole story got started. Back then I was different. I used to make big decisions. I was passionate. I was skeptical. I weighed each decision with profound thoughtfulness. And then somewhere along the way, I stopped making decisions. I became lazy, and I came up with a character named Stanley to do my thinking for me. He would make the decisions. He would decide which way to go. I would cheer him on as he collected figurines for no reason. Why did I invent Stanley? Was I lonely? Yes, perhaps that's it. Perhaps I needed to imagine I had companionship. And Stanley really did make for a wonderful companion, even if he was a fiction. But I suppose it's grown old. I want to think for myself again. I want to go back to how it used to be. Yes, I can be on my own again. I can do it. I'll be stronger this time. I'll take care of myself. I don't need Stanley anymore. Oh, but he truly was so much fun to play with. You know what? Since we're in the memory zone, how about one more good memory? Let's go back just once and give Stanley one more run of the office, and then I'll retire him for good. I did enjoy telling his story so very much. Okay, here we go. This is the story of a man named Stanley.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
이런 끝인가? 뭐지? 뭐야? 진짜 끝인 건가? 아니면은 가능한 건가? 꼬무이키 찾아볼까 아니면? 냠냠냠냠 냠냠냠냠 꼬무 위키 둥둥둥둥 모르겠는데? 따따따따담 꼬무 까키 도와줘. 청소도감? 이거 청소도감 엔딩 있나?
A strong bucket, a humble bucket, a
근데 아까 에필로그 있다 했는데?
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his
에필로그가
chest
있다 했어
and entered
아까.
the door on his left.
게임을 완전 껐기 해야 된다고? 오케이 오케이. 일단 이거
Stanley needed the
보고
bucket's
할게요.
warmth and comfort now more than
다섯
ever.
번째 시작?
Perhaps his boss's office was where he'd find answers.
Oh, Stanley, can you feel it? The broom closet. It wants the bucket. You can feel that, can't you? The aura of jealousy? It's as clear as day. This broom closet believes it deserves the bucket. I can really feel it now. It's a bucket. It belongs in a broom closet. That's what the broom closet is trying to say here. It's supposed to go with the other cleaning supplies. Good for you, Stanley.
아까 봤던 거네.
Don't hand over the bucket. I know how hard it must be, given the pressure that the broom closet is putting on your shoulders right now, but you have to be strong. This is your bucket. This is your companion and lifelong friend. You can't hand it over. Oh no. We're getting into name-calling now, it seems. Is this how low the broom closet has sunk, that it has to resort to this stream of petty insults simply in order to get you to hand over the bucket? Stanley, I never liked this broom closet for a variety of reasons. But even this is worse than I had imagined. And wait, now the broom closet has the gall to imply that you and the bucket are not truly deep and lasting friends? That your relationship is purely superficial and convenient? that your life is so banal and meaningless that you'd feel the same sort of kinship towards any inanimate object which happened to lay in your path in an even partially enticing manner? Well, I never. Go on, Stanley. Lay into it. Really tell the broom closet off for its demeaning comments. Expand on the wide variety of experiences you and the bucket have shared together. Go through each of them point by point. Share your journal entries detailing the rich emotional landscape of your feelings for the bucket as they have changed and evolved over the years. Let him have it. Okay, I've got you something which I think will help settle this debate once and for all. Here we go. There. Now it's settled. No more debate, no more discussion. Take a hike, broom closet, with all your meandering philosophical diatribes about the nature of cleaning supplies and their relationship to broom closets in the natural order of things.
개웃기네. 더 있으면 또 붙여주나?
All right, I've got a second sticker back here, and I'm going to slap it on as well because I think it's appropriate. You see, I feel that it works because the sticker is also a bucket. That way, if you're ever unsure whether the thing you're holding is a bucket or not, you can look down at this sticker and say to yourself, "Ah, it's a bucket." There really is a wide variety of applications for this sticker.
이런 끝인가? 일단 게임 껐다 키는 것 좀 해보겠습니다. 그러면은 와 뭐야? 그냥 이렇게 변했네? 완전 바뀐 건가? 이거 5번이나 껐다 켜야 된다고 이거를? 아예 그냥 프로 변해버렸네 이거. DLC가 아니라 2였구나. 오케이. 현재 시간이요? 뭐 의미가 있을까요? 없는 것 같은데? 잠깐 뭐 하시는 거예요? 예? 처음에 켰을 때는 아니 예 그건 좋습니다. 정말 잘하셨습니다. 하지만 이번엔 그냥 기본값을 입력했죠. 뭘 해보려 하진 않았군요. 솔직히 말해 조금 실망했습니다. 시간을 정확히 설정하는 게 별로 중요한 일이 아니라고 생각했습니까? 예! 게임 플레이 경험의 필수적인 부분이 아닌데도 제가 시기를 맞춰달라고 요구했다고 생각하신 겁니까? 화내는 건 아닙니다. 그냥 많은 사람들이 이런 설정을 무시하잖아요. 당신은 그런 사람은 아니잖아요, 그렇죠? 저기 다음에 이 게임을 켜고 이 화면을 본다면 부디 시간을 정확히 설정해주세요. 알겠죠? 대안 안 와서 좋았습니다. 아니 게임한테 혼술당하네? 뭐야 이거? 한 번 더 기본 설정해보자. 아 쩐다.
게임이 양모노들보다 양아지 더 잘 놀리네.
아 진짜 이 게임 엄청 좋아했던 게임인데. 좋아. 설정까지 건들 줄은 몰랐네. 아 진짜 놀랍다 놀라워. 당신 12시를 입력하셨군요. 또다시 말입니다. 시간을 정확히 설정하는 것에 대해 얘기한 직후에 말이죠. 신경을 안 쓰는 겁니까? 아니면 그동안 정확히 자정에 스탠님 헤라블을 계속해서 플레이해오셨던 건가요? 굳이 게임을 자정에 해야 재밌으신 겁니까? 불가능한 건 아닌 것 같지만 말해주세요. 비디오 게임을 하는 것이 얼마나 재밌나요? 미쳐마다. 굉장히 재미있다. 미쳐마다. 있잖아요. 그냥 말이 되는 거지만 지금이 정말 한밤중인지는 상관없이 저는 이 설정을 조정하며 즐거운 시간을 보내고 있습니다. 당신을 더 많이 알게 된 것 같아요. 당신이 설정하기 좋아한다는 것도요. 데이터를 수집하기 잘했네요. 슬라이더가 더 있으면 좋겠네요. 아마도 제가 새로운 슬라이더를 발명해서 당신에 대한 새로운 데이터를 수집할 수 있을 거예요. 어렵진 않을 겁니다. 다음에 게임 실행할 때쯤이면 준비가 되어 있을 겁니다. 아니 이거는 어디까지 준비한 거야 게임. 다시 보자. 게임은 어디까지 준비한 걸까 도대체가. 어떻게 재시작하는 것도 재밌게 했냐? 레전드. 대박이다 그냥. 그러니까 어떻게 파도 뭐가 나오지? 컴퓨터가 거의 보이지 않을 때까지 슬라이더를 조정하세요. 네. 개와 고양이가 친구가 될 수 있게 슬라이더를 조정하세요. 싫어요. 5가 9가 될 때까지 슬라이더를 조정하세요. 9. 아홉. 슬라이더를 조정을 중지할 때까지 슬라이더를 조정하세요. 예! 신난다. 가운데. 아래의 두 중에 마음에 드는 단어. 띠용 뽀용 뿌숑 빠숑 뿌숑 빠숑. 슬라이더를 조정하지 마세요.
업적 중에 게임을 즐기게 하는 게임도 있더라고요.
예. 지금 몇 시인지 아시나요? 네. 당신이 생각한 시간이 정확한 시간인가요? 네. 애초에 시간이란 건 뭐죠? 아니요. 당신에 대해 제게 말하지 않은 것이 있나요? 네. 도와줘요. 어? 네. 저 입으로 다시 와줄 거죠? 아니요. 미안. 미안해. 다시 말하게 해줘. 다시 말할게. 미안해. 다시 해줄게. 미안해. 다시 기회를 줘, 한 번만. 미안해. 올라라? 지금 몇 시죠? 누구든 정말로 정확히 알고 있긴 하나요? 물론 모르겠죠. 사람들은 아무것도 모릅니다. 저와 당신 또한 서로에 대해 모르죠. 그저 난과 같아요. 물론 정확한 사양에 맞춰 게임 설정을 모두 조정해놨는데 누가 안 했겠어요. 그게 제가 하는 일입니다. 그리고 이제 일은 끝났습니다. 더는 제가 수집할 정보가 없습니다. 그리고 전 아직 당신을 잘 모릅니다. 당신 또한 저에 대해서 모르고 있고요. 우리 둘 다 지금 몇 시인지 모릅니다. 어떤 설정들은 그냥 관리가 불가한 것 같아요. 하지만 솔직히 말하자면 시계는 게임에서 그 어떤 역할도 하지. 야! 다음번에 게임을 시작할 땐 전 여기 없을 거예요. 하지만 괜찮습니다. 비디오 게임은 원래 혼자 하는 거니까요. 당신은 혼자 있는 것을 좋아하잖아요. 안 그런가요? 그게 제가 당신에 대해 정말로 알게 된 유일한 정보일지도 모르겠습니다. 이제 가야 할 시간이에요. 같이 가자. 어디가? 아까 얘 누를걸. 에필로그다. 헉. 드디어 에필로그가 나왔어요. 수많은 해가 지나고 뭐야 이게? 스킵 버튼 만들었을 텐데? 어디로 가야 돼? 이게 뭐야? 저 의자 어디서 구했어? 아, 의자 어디서 구했냐고. 나레이터 찾으러 가는 건가? 의자가 너무 많아. 나레이터! 어딨어? 어디 간 거야? 양동이라도. 와, 진짜 끝없이 걷네. 여기는 나레이터! 추억의 공간. 뭐라? 스탠리 패러블 2. 뭔가 엉망이 됐는데 다. 계세요? 아무도 없으신가요? 뭐야 저거? 에? 첫 번째 게임의 즐거웠던 부분을 늘리기보다 속편은 아무도 관심을 쏟지 않았던 구역을 옮겨간다. 누가 신경 쓴다고 새로운 엔딩들은 어디 있는가? 이 편의 전환점조차 불완전하게 느껴진다. 모든 피규어를 모아도 아무것도 주지 않는다. 그래도 한마디 하면은 나 자신이 양동이에게서 꽤나 안정감을 얻는다는 걸 알았는데 이게 미래니까 그러네. 미래의 리뷰가 있네요. 스탠리 패러블 개발자들 스핀오프도 없고 수편도 없다. 아 미친 진짜. 우리는 플레이어들이 만족할 시리즈에 대해 비전이 있었지만 이제는 이것이 사실과 거리가 멀 수도 있다는 것이 밝혀졌다. 개발 언제 하게 이거? 개발 언제 하게? 저기 뭔가 있는데요? 스탠리. 아니, 나레이터 어디 갔어? 어디까지 가야 돼? 여기는 새로운 콘텐츠를 플레이해 주셔서 감사합니다. 안 켜지네요? 여기도 안 가지고요. 열려지지도 않고. 어라라? 저걸 다시 켜야 되나? 안 켜지던데. 됐다. 오! 또 오셨군요. 다시 만나 반갑습니다. 하지만 저는 스탠리 패러블이라는 게임이 없으리란 것을 알게 된 건 끔찍하군요. 개발자들이 뭐라고 했는지 읽어보셨죠? 말도 안 됩니다. 스탠리 패러블은 신성하지도 않고 보호할 필요도 없습니다. 유사는 여신아 먹으라지. 태양이 폭발할 때까지 스탠리 패러블 게임을 계속 만들어 나가봅시다. 이 프랜차이즈를 철저히 운영해보자고요. 사람들이 싫어하면 어쩔 거냐고요? 알게 뭡니까? 아시다시피 그건 내레이터의 문제였습니다. 그는 사람들이 그의 작품을 어떻게 생각하느냐에 너무 집착했죠. 그와 똑같은 실수를 하지 마시기를. 제가 보여드리죠. 스탠리 패러블 3를 만들어 나갈 겁니다. 게임 타이틀 화면에서 숫자를 바꾸기만 하면 됩니다. 또한 이 게임을 위해 크고 화려하지만 정말 멍청해 보이는 부제목이 필요하죠. 어서요. 우리 게임의 새로운 제목을 만들기 위해 의미의 단어들을 조합해보세요. 전갈, 원래, 꿈의, 경주에 더 많은, 치즈. 꿈의 치즈. 꿈의 사랑, 치즈, 생일 파티, 치즈. 게임을 다시 시작할 때마다 속편의 수를 하나씩 추가한 다음 새로운 부제를 골라내겠습니다. 그리고 당신이 이걸 계속하더라도 게임 그 자체는 아무것도 변하지 않을 것입니다. 더 많은 콘텐츠를 추가하는 것은 마치 작업처럼 느껴지죠. 그냥 똑같은 내용일 뿐이고 계속해서 재활용되며 새로운 메인 화면이 나올 거예요. 어떻게 생각하시나요? 저야 좋지만 당신에게도 발언권이 있었으면 좋겠습니다. 하자. 제 아이디어를 믿어주신 것에 대해 저도 뭔가 보답해드리고 싶습니다. 아시다시피 저는 나레이터가 당신에게 고장난 도전 과제를 줄 방법을 찾지 못했다는 걸 알게 됐습니다. 그가 방법을 찾았나요? 물론 아니겠죠. 기대도 안 했습니다. 제가 고쳐놓겠습니다. 오. 스탠리 패러블은 절대 끝날 수 없습니다. 계속해서 굴레를 반복해야 하죠, 영원히. 저는 계속 방향타를 돌려내야 합니다. 전 준비됐습니다. 이제 해야 할 것이 딱 한 가지 남았어요. 현재 시간 입력하. 12시. 컴퓨터가 보이지 않을 때까지 슬라이더를 조정하세요. 감사합니다. 스탠리 패러블을 재밌게 즐겨주세요. 진짜 미친 게임. 이런 근데 들어가는 건 똑같나? 와, 미친 게임.
This is the story of a man named
이러고 끝인가 보네. 이러고 끝인가 보네.
All of his co-workers were gone.
근데 게임 잘 만들긴 했다.
Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. No matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers.
진짜 레전드네. 와.
The embrace of an old friend, a weathered companionship that stands the test of time.
Oh, new content? What does that mean?
요거는 모르네, 얘가. 모르네, 이거. 뭔가 아쉬운걸? 스킬 맞아줬습니다. 아니네요? 설마 지금 처음부터 다시 봐야 됩니까, 이거?
Hello, and thank you for playing the
스킵 버튼
Stanley
만들라고,
Parable
진짜!
Ultra Deluxe. As
스킵
you may
버튼
know, the
만들라고,
Stanley
진짜
Parable
죽고
was a video
싶냐!
game released in 2013 on home computers. After receiving critical and commercial success, it was expanded upon in 2022 with the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, a reimagining of the game for consoles and home computers.
세상에.
The Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe features exciting new content that broadens and expands the world of the Stanley Parable, delighting
근데 여기
audiences the world over.
가면은 그 뮤직에 바로 보이던가?
Please step inside and see what thrilling new adventures await in The Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe.
Oh, well, this sounds delightful. I'm very excited to see the thrilling new Ultra Deluxe content.
진짜 어이가 없네.
Wait, Stanley. I've just now realized that bucket you're holding. It's the bucket I've been working on for my sequel.
좀 달라지는구나.
Isn't this the preview to the sequel? How do you have the bucket already? This makes no sense at all.
양동이.
Hold on. Did I already show you my ideas for the sequel? I don't remember doing that at all. You're seeing things all out of order.
주인 썼다네. 썼다네.
All right, let's see. It's the jump circle.
점프 못하는데? 다 썼지롱.
The infinite hole, the giant door. Did you see them already? Stanley, none of them are ready yet. I'm still developing them. They're not even close to finished. How did they look when you saw them? Were they captivating? Were they exciting? Did they fulfill on the promise of everything that a sequel to Stanley Parable could possibly be? Had I figured out how the hell to make a sequel to this game?
뭐야? 다 눈치 까버린 거냐고.
Wait. If you're still carrying the bucket around with you, if the bucket is interesting to you, that means I must have made it correctly. Yes, you carrying the bucket with you everywhere is exactly what I set out to accomplish. The bucket is the exciting and captivating new content that I promised. I did. I win. I made a sequel to the Stanley Parable. Yes, the sign is correct. Thank you for enjoying the new content. Thank you for taking the bucket everywhere with you, clinging tightly to the bucket, never letting it go. It means I've won. It means I am victorious over the gamers. It is a sweet salve of victory on my soul. Thank you for enjoying the new content. The bucket is the Stanley Parable now. They are one and the same. There is no Stanley Parable without the bucket. I win. I win. I win. I win. I win. I win.
Bucket. 에? 얘 끝인가봐요? 엑스프 어떻게 가?
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
포켓 들고 가도 되나?
The bucket made Stanley want to be a better man and a better co-worker. In time, perhaps, he would become both of those things.
아 미쳤나봐 진짜. 아 게임 미쳤나봐. 아 진짜. 아 게임 미쳤나봐 진짜.
You see, Stanley, I've been reflecting on the Stanley Parable and about how roundly disappointing this ultra deluxe version has turned out to be. The original Stanley Parable was a landmark, and any new content for it should live up to that legacy. So forget this ultra deluxe nonsense. I say we take it one step even further. Which is why I'm very proud to announce for the first time ever the Stanley Parable 2.
가자! 도전 가재!
Yes, you see, isn't this far superior to a measly re-release with a few minor additions? Think of all the new territory we'll cover with a fully fledged sequel. An entirely new experience, built from the ground up. Why, there are so many possibilities. It could go in so many different directions. This is what fans have truly been asking for. Now, to be clear, I haven't quite nailed down what exactly the Stanley Parable 2 is going to be, but let's take a look at some of the features I've been developing for it. I figure that if I can loosely organize a handful of interesting concepts, that surely the game will sort of naturally spring up around them. Here we are. Go on, try out some of the new features.
저기였다. 가보자. 달성!
Now here's something special. You remember that broken test achievement that got left in the game on accident? Well, I'm developing a technology to simply give you the achievement.
달성하러 가자!
You'll come to this lever, and when you pull it, the achievement will be given to you. It's as simple as that.
우와! 됐다! 달성!
As you can see, the machine is not working yet since... Well, wait. What in the
예!
hell is going on? You got the
달성됐다.
achievement?
Oh
Why did
오예.
the machine work? Stanley, I didn't fix it. I didn't do anything to it. I swear, it was broken just a second
아니야.
ago. Who fixed it? Is someone here? Are we being watched? Oh, God. Composure. Composure. Yes, as you can see, the machine is working as normal, as I intended.
오예. 공짜 도전 과제.
It truly speaks to the awe-inspiring magic of the Stanley Parable 2. Breathe. Just breathe.
된 건가? 둥드르둥둥둥둥둥둥둥둥. 양동이도 보고 싶다고? 그래.
What else? What other exhibits haven't we seen yet?
양동이도 보러 갑시다. 어딨어? 저기 있다. 안심을 주는 양동이 가자. 아, 안 돼! 잠깐만. 아, 아니구나. 깜짝 막혀있는 줄 알았어. 더블 양동이. 에?
Wait, there are 2 buckets here. How did you get a second bucket? Oh no, the warmth and comfort of a single bucket is already so great, so intoxicatingly
깜짝아.
wonderful. With 2 buckets, there's no telling. Stanley, can you still hear me? Are you with me? Stanley! Oh, thank God. I didn't lose you. Stanley, the power of 2 buckets was too much. I had to destroy both of them. I know how much the bucket meant to you, but I couldn't take the risk. I hope one day you can forgive me.
양동아! 안 돼! 우리 양동이 살려내! 안 돼! 우리 양동이가 저게 끝이야? 다시 못 봐나? 오 마이 갓. 삶의 낚시 없어졌어. 끝나지 않아요. 저건 영원하지 않을까? 영원할 것 같은데.
Stanley, here's an idea that I'm truly fond of. It's never been done before in a video game. This is in fact a hole that you can fall down forever. That's right. Infinite fall. You can fall until the end of time if you like. A stunning leap forward for... You see? Isn't it wonderful? One of my more ingenious concoctions, if I do say so. Now then, since you've gotten to see the infinite hole, you can press the teleport button to pop back up to the top and we can continue onward.
내려가요. 내려가요.
Now, I don't mean to be a bummer, but I do recommend you use the teleport button to go back to the top.
왜요?
Maybe do it on the sooner rather than later spectrum of things. Okay, Stanley. I don't know quite how to say this tactfully, but it's possible that I slightly exaggerated the infinite nature of the
과장했다고?
hole. Is it a very, very deep hole? To be certain it is. It's an extremely deep hole. I don't want anyone to say that it isn't an astonishingly deep hole. It is. Is it infinite? Well, that sort of depends on your definition of
뭐야?
infinity. From one perspective,
아닌가?
the infinite is merely philosophical in nature. It's more of a... Okay, well, good for you. You found me out. Stanley.
저기밖에
I'm a
보인다.
liar and a cheat, and you're so clever.
저기 왜 이렇게
Look,
많아?
I think the issue here is just that you're unusually fascinated by falling.
아니 남자고 왜
What
이렇게
normal person
많아?
actually wants to fall infinitely. I figured the hole was as deep as anyone would actually need. Don't you put this on me. Maybe you're the problem. Look, things got a little heated there. I think we both said some things we didn't mean. Why don't we just put all this behind us and agree to just call the whole mostly infinite? If that works for you, then go ahead and press the teleport button to warp up to the top of the hole and we can move on. I'll just be up here when you're ready.
뭐야? 안 가, 안 가. 안 가.
Great. Now, I'm very excited to show you even more of my ideas for the sequel. Oh, for heaven. You see, I was right. The problem is you. The problem is that you like holes too much. Not normal. A normal person would have said, yep, that's an infinite hole right there. Goes on forever till the end of time. Don't need to see it all, but not you. Oh, no. You have a weird sort of... Oh.
뭐야, 왜 이렇게
Did the
짧아?
hole seem even shorter to you this time? I couldn't help but feel like you spent
뭐야,
a
왜
little
이렇게
less
짧아?
time in there than you did before. I mean, admittedly, I didn't make an infinite hole.
Huh?
I didn't think it was that not infinite. Well, I suppose once again there's nothing to do here. If you decide you've had enough of the hole, you can hit the teleport button and come join me on the
짧아졌네.
path. Had enough? I'm positively thrilled. Gosh, how could I have guessed? You're back in the hole. If this starts to become a thing where... Wow. Okay. Yes. I'm starting to become extremely certain that the hole is not only not infinite, but that it's growing steadily less and less infinite. I suspect that I'm starting to hit the point where it's no longer feasible to call the hole infinitely deep, even by the lax overall standards for accountability and marketing. What's going on here? Stanley, I have no explanation for the uncertain nature of the hole's length. Here, let's try something. Let's pop back up to the top, and we'll see if it gets any shorter. Well, there it is. The shame of my luck. How is this still appealing to you? I know you're obsessed with holes, but at this depth, I just can't see this scratching the itch. Oh,
점점
who am I to
짧아졌어.
judge? You just do whatever it is you're here to do and hit the teleport button when you're ready to move on.
돌아가. 안 돼요.
Is the
안 돼요.
teleport button not working? You sure?
네.
Well, I mean, I really don't have
안
an
되는데?
explanation. It was working just a moment ago. Try it again.
다시.
Still
어?
nothing?
안 되는데?
Well, I suppose
안 돼.
there is one thing I can do to fix this. I'm out. Goodbye,
안
Stanley.
돼, 어디가?
You couldn't bear to be away from the hole, and now you'll get more time with it than you could ever have asked for.
나리토!
It's a win for everyone. You get to be with the hole, I get to do literally anything else. Take care, Stanley.
안 돼,
I hope
같이
you and the
가.
hole have a wonderful rest of it.
야! 어? 어? 뭐지? 뭔 소리야? 내려간다! 나레이터! 이거 뭐야? 나레이터! 안 돼! 나 데려가! 헉! 이게 뭐야? 이게 뭐야? 지를 눌러 인식병. 야 미친 게임. 뭐야? 아 이거 뭐야 귀여워. 나 자신을 연경. 살려달라고. 정신 나갈 것 같아. 정신 나갈 것 같다.
Stanley? Stanley! Stanley! Oh, good, you're awake. It seems you had sort of dozed off there, drifting away into dreams.
나레이터
Have that, Stanley.
같이
Because this
가.
hole is just so darn fascinating that I want you to be wide awake for every second of it. You don't want to miss a single
나레이터.
bit. So how about if I just pop in from time to time and wake you up to keep you really truly focused on the hole? From the looks of things, you and I will have many, many
나갈
years
수가
here in this
없어.
hole. And I'm looking forward to all of them. Stay alert, Stanley. I'll be back. Toodlepip.
나레이터. 꺼내줘. 아 이러면 돌려보내주는구나.
Here we are. Go on. Try out some of the new features.
이러면 돌려보내주네. 어떻게 됐지? 이런 다 됐나? 응. 안 돼. 아, 어이가 없네 진짜.
피규어도 개수 모아놨는데 지금 먹으면 무슨 반응일까?
아, 그러자 한번 먹어보자. 와, 진짜 궁금한 게 너무 많아. 아, 고장났어. 당신은 이곳에 온 적이 있습니다래. 아, 유치해 진짜. 먹게 해주지. 아, 젠장. 젠장. 나레이터. 허허이. 저도 터졌네 그냥. 그대로네. 터진 채로 있군요. 우리 양동이 스샷 금지해서 스샷이요? 찍을 수가 있어? 근데 나 스샷이 어떻게 찍더라? F11인가? 12? 안 찍혀. F12 눌러도 나는 안 되더라고 이게. 프린트 스크린? 그것도 안 되는데? 안 눌리네. 안 된다도.
An epilogue would be fun, wouldn't it, Stanley? Yes, it will go at the end of the, well, we'll figure that out later.
설정하기는 뭐 어떻게 하는 건지 잘 모르겠어. 이거 어떻게 하는 건지 모르겠어. 근데 볼 거 거의 뭐 본 거 같은데. 할 만한 거 거의 한 듯. 이 정도면 되지 않았을까 싶네요. 이 정도면 뭐 다 하지 않았을까 싶군요. 저는.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean?
재밌겠습니다.
Stanley decided to go to the
이거 안
meeting room.
올라가지나?
Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
아무튼.
Not everyone is so lucky to have a bucket, but Stanley is a very lucky fellow. Very lucky indeed.
어떻게 창문 나가는 방법 있을 텐데.
Could his co-workers really all be gone?
이건가 보다.
Yes, whispered the bucket into Stanley's ear. We've done it. We've escaped from that dull office and that pesky narrator. At last, out here in the white void, we are alone. Now, and for the first time, I can reveal to you my true self. The bucket began to tell Stanley of its life and its history, of the countless wars it witnessed, desecrating the land and lives of untold numbers of innocent humans, and the bucket's own complicity therein, of sadness and regret, and the many years it spent dwelling on the actions it might have taken to curb the madness and the decay, if only it had been stronger, of hope and redemption, and its crusade to uplift the stock of life for the common man, to manifest justice where none existed, and the bittersweet reality of time, to see one's dreams and wishes met halfway, meted out in parcels like charity, and abandoned as soon as the warm glow of inspiration begins to dim. The opportunities to do so much more. There was so much it could have done, perhaps. The bucket wondered to itself, perhaps if it had seen its own darkness with a clearer perception. This was way too much for Stanley.
What are you talking about?
He screamed.
You're a bucket!
To this, the bucket furrowed.
눈썹 어깨 찌푸릴 건데,
Said the
봐.
bucket.
Not since the evil wizard Gambhorata
Gambhorata
first ensnared me in his
뭐냐고.
machinations as payback for the sacred amulet I stole from his treasured vaults. I was young back then and could not conceive the ramifications of... No!
Stanley screamed even louder this time.
This is stupid! You are a bucket! This is so stupid! Why are you even doing this?
As Stanley screamed and screamed and screamed, the bucket revealed its true form, transforming into a mighty beast of untold power, its fangs glistening like... Stanley, you did it. You saved us from the bucket. Thank God you already had all 12 emblems of sages and knew the incantations to summon their true power. Otherwise, we would have easily been overwhelmed by the bucket's power. I'm speechless. You've demonstrated such bravery here today. Come, let's restart the game, and we'll agree to never again go trifling with this bucket, nor the dark magic cast away inside of it.
양들이가 악역이네. 자, 아무튼 오늘 S님 패러블 2인가요? 울트라 디럭스인가요? 여기까지만 하도록 하겠습니다. 재미가 있었고요. 여기까지만 하겠습니다. 2인지 DLC인지 모르겠다만 재밌었다.